Welcome, everybody, to otakusgeeks.com. This is Justin. Before we begin this episode, I have to give you a little bit of a disclaimer. The following episode might give you a certain trigger. You might be triggered based on people's views and opinions. Keep in mind, it does not reflect the overall brand of Otakus and Geeks, Red Eyes Entertainment, Gotham Geek Girl, Imagine Divisions, and all that other stuff. But this is just in views of people's opinions. So if you cannot handle people's opinions, I encourage you to please go back to your safe spaces with your echo chambers and chill out there. So without further ado, this is Otakus and Geeks, Justin versus Sean, episode 8, Triggered. And that is going to be the nice intro, and I feel liberated today because this is the episode I've been waiting for. But before we start this off, we have to introduce our guests, our panelists, as always. Nadia, Happy New Year. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. Happy New Year. Gotham Geek Girl here.
Jarrell, Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you all as well. This is Jarrell, a.k.a. The Icon, Red Eyes Entertainment.
Sean, Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year to you and everyone. This is Sean, the True Comic Fan, Chronicles, Beer and Goods, and of course, Otakus and Geeks, Justin versus Sean.
Man, you do a lot of shit.
Yeah, right? Trying to keep busy.
It's like thanks, Sean.
And as I alluded today in that intro, the reason why we're calling it this is because this one is going to be a little heavy. It might be, we're going to be touching, or at least me, towards the end on some sensitive topics that's going on. I'm going to be talking about the state of the comic book industry, what's happening in the gaming industry when it comes to censorship, representation, diversity, all that other stuff. So I'm going to be touching on a lot of that stuff. So some people might not agree and it might get offensive to some folks. So that's why I gave you guys that nice trigger warning. But we're going to start off light. We're going to talk first. We're definitely going to get into the Wonder Woman 84 review. We all have our thoughts on that, so we're going to get into that first. We're going to get into that later. But first, we're going to start it off a little bit lighthearted. You know, we're going to go into the Disney world. We're going to talk about the Marvel Phase 4, since we didn't touch on it when it was announced, when they did the Disney, the Disney conference thing. So,
yeah, but that was during the time we were on a break. So
we're going to do that. We're going to catch up and give our thoughts on Phase 4. And one of the things I'm mostly excited for, definitely, that was finally announced is the Fantastic Four. But they also have announced a lot of the all-new Marvel, which I'll get into down the line with part of my rant. But if you're not a fan of those characters, well, I got some bad news for you, because they're getting their Disney Plus shows. So if you're not a fan of Ironheart, which I am, but if you're not a fan of Ironheart, was American Chavez, she's getting hers. Riri Williams, all that. So that's all going to be part of Disney Plus. Miss Marvel, all that stuff. But I'm going to pass it to Sean. Let him give his thoughts on WandaVision, the trailers, Winter Soldier, and all that stuff.
Well, my thing is, it all looks good because I really do think Disney takes its time. Well, I shouldn't say Disney. Disney Marvel takes their time planning stuff out. I think the WandaVision thing, I think Corona just really knocked everything out of whack because we were already supposed to have WandaVision, Winter Soldier, and everything already. We should have actually, what really knocked it out of whack is we should be watching the Black Widow should have already seen the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to give a boo to Disney because at this point, you let the players of the NBA watch the Black Widow movie while they were in the bubble. You let them and their families watch it. At this point, the movie has been seen by a lot of different people, and I'm pretty sure there's somewhere where it's been leaked out. And at this point, why don't you just do this? DC did it. You're not going to recoup any money on anything. Send it to Disney Plus. Do before WandaVision. I think when is the week WandaVision opens?
January 15th.
January 15th.
Comes to Disney Plus.
So when it comes to January 15th, why don't you release Black Widow on Disney Plus for people to watch and just call it, let's keep with the Phase 4 thing going. Let everybody see Black Widow. Take your losses on it. You won't actually take a loss. You're actually going to boost everybody's expectations for the move, for what's going on. You started with Black Widow, then you go into WandaVision. WandaVision is supposed to lead into Doctor Strange. And also, WandaVision is supposedly supposed to introduce mutants. Because, to me, I think the plan they have is to do a reverse House of M, where instead of Wanda saying no more mutants, I think she's going to whisper some. It might not be the same thing, but, from the different things that I've seen online, let's just say she's going to mention something along the lines of mutants to bring them into existence into the MCU, which I think would be a great thing because now you can stop calling them enhanced. You can stop saying like they have, they're special or whatever, and you can call them what they are. You can call them mutants. So, bring that together, and then, we can start phase 4 because there are too many movies, honestly, that are coming out. You have the Eternals that are supposed to come out.
That was supposed to be this year.
Yeah,
November.
I mean, everything is moved back. You have Doctor Strange, the Eternals. You have a new Spider-Man. You have Venom. All this stuff is supposed to be coming together. And I mean, who's not excited about seeing all 3 Spider-Mans come together in one thing with the Spider-Verse? And why you I think Disney is doing a good job with it, but I think they're going to, if they don't bring out Black Widow, they're dropping the ball on this. Just at this point, Black Widow should just be free. Call it a night. Stop trying to I know the mouse is up there trying to squeeze every dollar out of,
Well, the parks ain't making money, so they got to do that.
But, at this point, the NBA families saw it. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been talking about it. So
and they didn't pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing, too. It's not like this is more of a backstory. This is taking place. I mean, from the timeline purposes, it's not like she's dead. Spoiler if you ain't seen Endgame by now. God help you. But it's
this is in between
Civil War. So
and,
it's not like
the first Infinity.
Yeah, so it's not like you're losing. Oh my God, we're losing that Phase 4 money.
Because this is technically a prequel in between Phase 3.
Yeah,
going into Phase 4. So I mean, just do it. I mean, to me, just do it right.
The money thing for them is a bullshit cop out anyway because Wonder Woman made money. Wonder Woman made money in theaters and on a streaming service.
But the thing is, Wonder Woman made money overseas, and I kind of got even though it all goes into what it is, making $100,000 for the I mean $100 million. Sorry, $100 million in the movie industry is considered bullshit. Considering these movies cost between $300 and $400 million.
No, but I'm just saying. But during a pandemic, some money's better than no money because the fact that they're just sitting on it, they're making no money.
Well, I think their thing is you have a movie like Tenet that made $300 million, and I think only cost $70 million to make, made $300 million in theaters. Because if anybody who lives we're from New York, anybody that lives in Long Island and knows that the movie theaters are open in Long Island. I mean, they spread everybody out, but the movie theaters are open. So the end result is if a movie like Tenet, which was a really good movie, can make that much money, Wonder Woman should have, whatever theaters it was in, it should have made close to that for what it made. I'm not knocking it. I mean, it's still, you're absolutely right. It's a pandemic. There's nobody out there. People are like, yo, look, I really want to risk my life to go watch rich people in a movie. No. And especially I can sit at home with my family and watch it. And I'm pretty sure there was probably a deal for the streaming.
And I will say that they would probably, if they didn't go to HBO Max, it would definitely made more money. Because, you think about it, it's just like, am I going to go to the theater and watch this? Or I'm just, well, then again, it was only on HBO Max for USA, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So for those in the USA, it's just like, and there are theaters that are open in the United States, that's not heavily as infected with COVID in other places. So, I mean, I'm looking at it from this perspective. Am I going to go to the theater or I'm going to watch this shit at home?
Well, you want to hear something crazy? I know a few people that threw Wonder Woman parties in the theater since it was $100 and you can bring 20 people.
I mean, it really comes down to fan service at the end of the day because, DC decided they're listen, we'll put it out there for Max for people to see it for free who already subscribe. And if we take a hit financially, we just take a hit. But to cover their ass, they also said we'll put it in the theater.
Yeah.
See, Disney tried to charge people for Mulan.
$30.
Yeah, for Mulan. And then when Warner Brothers announced they were going to put Wonder Woman on HBO Max, the mouse got mad. And then people were literally trying to stop HBO Max from putting the movie out on their streaming service, because Disney's whole thing was if HBO Max does this, then people are gonna start asking me. So when y'all gonna do that?
Well, here's the thing: it wasn't. You can't say people. It was DC's own producers that were bitching about about it being on there. It's not like anybody turned around. I mean, Disney dropped the ball with Mulan because people were like, "Okay, I'm going to pay you $30," which, granted, is still cheaper for me to pay for this movie
if you bring the kids.
Yeah, and I'm not, if I'm going to the movie theaters to bring kids, but it's not cheaper for me who paying like $19, $20
for the subscription already.
And I'm already paying for the subscription. And on top of that, let's say I lose my subscription or I'm not paying for it anymore. I can't keep Mulan. Mulan, I paid $30 to keep Mulan. I might as well just wait for it to come out on DVD and pay $19.99 or something.
They got a decision to make. It's like, do you want to do the right thing for the fans, or do you want to hold out? Or do you want to hold this Black woman movie out for as long as you can to try to squeeze every dime when theaters quote unquote open back up again?
Yeah, and I don't think theaters are going to open up the same. I don't care what the vaccine does. It's too many. This is too early to say we're going to go back to, like, a lot of people are like, oh, we figure by the summertime things will start getting back to normal. I don't think until at least 2020, middle of 2022 is when I think the world will kind of go back to doing their thing, like us being oblivious and being filthy pigs again, like going back to that as far as sitting in front of each other, because it's still way too contagious, and people are still dying for us to go back to normal too fast. And that's really hitting the movie theater industry, because you can't, like, let's say, for instance, Wonder Woman, we didn't have this pandemic and Wonder Woman was in the theaters. It would definitely have made its $400 or $500 million thing, because everybody would have gone to see it. Yeah. It wouldn't, like, the first one already impressed upon enough people to go there and do what they had to do with it. But do I think it's doing this? Everybody's taking a hit.
So how long do you guys think Disney's going to sit on Black Widow?
Well, it's supposed to come out in May. It's slated for May.
On Disney Plus.
No, theaters. They said.
I think they're making a mistake.
But they. My thing is, like, I agree with everybody here. At this point, at least with the Black Widow movie, put it out. Like, I mean, come on. It's not like I didn't even know the NBA people saw the movie. Like, how the NBA gonna see the movie, but the rest of
because Disney hosted the bubble on the Disney resorts. So what they said was, as an added incentive,
doesn't Disney own ESPN?
Yeah. So as an added incentive to get the NBA players and their families to be comfortable and happy with being down there with their, for that duration, they gave them perks like, hey, you're gonna get to see different Marvel movies. And it wasn't just Black Widow. They had other things they were showing the families just to, like, make everything like, oh, bring your kids down here. I know they're going to be complaining that they don't want to be home, but at least they're in our hotels and they're in our bubble, and the NBA was paying for it anyway. Yeah. So at this point, it's just like
they're losing money themselves.
Yeah. So at this point, the NBA paid for that to happen. They gave while your dad's at training practice, you get to go sit and watch, you get to watch it. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you see me stuttering, like, what happens is we're in the studio and we actually have the Giants game playing in the background, like,
and the
no
Cowboys
sound.
Just scored.
Yeah, so like Justin's having a fit in me. I'm like, all right, well, I'm trying to make my point. I'm in my head cursing out the coaching. Like, I just called Daniel Jones every expletive I can think of right now, for throwing that interception.
This is perfect for the trigger episode. You got the Giants raising the blood pressure, and then what I'm going to be discussing later. But Nadia, what are you looking forward to for Phase 4? Are you looking towards any of the Disney Plus shows? What are your thoughts on the trailers, etc.?
I'm pretty excited for what is it? The What If?
Oh, nice.
Definitely.
The cartoon? Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, I actually was pretty excited for Black Widow, so I'm kind of sad we got to wait so long. I agree they should release it earlier.
Just put it on.
Spider-Man,
on Disney Plus
hell
now.
yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
Black Panther 2, I guess we'll see how that plays out. That's for like 2022. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be comfortable going back to theaters for a minute anyway. So I feel like by 2022, who knows what we're going to look like? So they should just start releasing stuff now.
I mean, I'm being honest. I said that if they release something in theaters out here, I was going to invite everybody. I was just going to pay for a movie party for everybody because it's $100, and then like everybody can buy food however they want to there, but $100 and you get like 20 people. So I would just tell everybody like, hey, does anybody want to come down? We're going to have a theater party out here in Long Island and come watch whatever. What's the next Marvel slated movie to come out?
Black Widow, right?
No, but I mean like in theaters.
Theaters will be, well, you mean this for this year?
Yeah.
Not. I think it was just Black Widow and then the Eternals. That's it.
Yeah, so
like a Marvel movie though.
I mean, because DC ain't coming out.
Because I would love to say if DC was coming out with something that was going to be that they're showing in theaters, I would be like, we can do a DC movie. All right, you know what? You pay for that DC movie. All right, I'm not paying for disappointment.
I mean, one thing for me, what I believe in out of everything that was announced that I'm actually looking forward to is Ant-Man and Quantumania because Kane the Conqueror. That's what I'm looking forward to. I love that villain. And I'm curious to see if they're actually going to connect that to the Fantastic Four, which is something I'm really excited about as well.
Well, they did say that. They said actually it's going to be connected through the Loki series. Loki, Agent of Chaos, like
something like that.
Yeah,
right?
they actually have on the board. Agents. They actually have on the board like 3 images of Krang the Conqueror. Krang the Conqueror.
I thought it was Kane.
Kane? No,
it's Kang with a G.
Kang. Thank you. It's Kang. It's they actually have Kang.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be an excellent Turtles movie. Krang the Conqueror.
Yeah. They actually have like 3 images of him. So they said there is a point where Loki is going to run into him in the series to give him an introduction, and then they're going to move it. But it's also interesting that
he's an Avengers level villain.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: he's big, but sometimes in the comic they made him like a low level villain, and then I think any villain in a comic book, it doesn't matter who it is, and that goes for DC and Marvel. They are as good as who writes them, because you've had a villain like what's his name from DC with Scarface. What is it? The puppet.
Yeah, Scarface.
Hey, it's Scarface.
No. The guy who controls him is
Mr. Something. I can't remember.
But he has a name. It's not just Scarface.
Yeah.
Scarface is one of his puppets. What is he? Not the puppet.
I'll get it for you right now.
He, when you take
the ventriloquist guy.
The ventriloquist, yeah. You can take him, and they've had like DC storylines. Yeah, they've had him in DC storylines where he's been.
He was in Gotham.
Yeah, like
he was in the final season of Gotham.
Yeah, where he's been like a major level villain. Whereas I've had some, when you take some comic books and they turn the Riddler into like a sniveling bitch, you know what I'm saying? Which he's not,
They did the opposite in Batman Hush.
Yeah, but Hush, I don't get me started on Hush, because Hush, I really wanted to walk up to the producers and like donkey punch him in the back of the head, like for that, because you don't take a masterpiece like Hush, you don't take that storyline and dumb it down to it's just the Riddler.
Which that was just
like. Did you see Hush on Batwoman?
No, actually, I didn't. Like I
heard that's better though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you'd like that better.
Yeah, like you can't take that. When Hush was written, it was done so well. Like it kind of makes you forget about the Joker being Batman's like major, like the one villain. Like, everybody has that one villain. Superman has Lex. Like Batman, we always associate him with the Joker. There was a point where I didn't want to think of the Joker as his villain anymore. Like I really thought about Hush. Is like Hush is just like anti-Batman. Is more anti-Batman to me than the Joker, because
Telltale Games did a good Riddler too.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, that's the best one.
So that this goes back to, it depends on who's writing. You could take the worst villain in the world, and I will tell you worst villains. Like I think some of the Flash's rogue gallery has some of the most quirky, like funny villains where you can't see them being that dangerous, and you can take them and make a storyline where it's just like, wow, like this dude is like world-ending event level dangerous, and I think they do that with Kang In the comic book, sometimes they've made him like, oh, boo, whatever. Especially in the Avengers game, they made him like absolutely nothing. They made him like a side character with another villain to fight. But whereas you take him in the comic book, he's dangerous. Like I don't know if you guys ever read Acts of Vengeance. Marvel did this back in like the mid to like early to mid 90s. They did a series called Acts of Vengeance where all the villains got together and said they were tired of getting defeated, and they all switched heroes.
Yeah.
Right. So this is when Spider-Man was getting his cosmic powers, and Spider-Man had to fight Magneto. You know, like that's not something you really want to see. Spider-Man had to fight Magneto. They all switched heroes, and it had a better outcome where switching the villains defeated a lot of the heroes.
Yeah.
So
Arnold Wesker was the ventriloquist.
okay, yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can make a great storyline against any villain as long as you write it right. Yeah. You know, so I'm interested to see what they're gonna do, especially with the new Batman coming together. Like, Kang, I already say, if you can put him as an event level villain, cool. I mean, he's also descendant of Reed Richards.
Yeah,
for the
that's
future.
That's what I was like wondering what they're gonna, how they're gonna incorporate that, and if he's a descendant of Reed Richards. And I mean, speaking of Fantastic Four, I think, you know, hopefully they'll announce the casting later this year, because the director of the Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home is going to direct the Fantastic Four, John Watts. So he's a good director. So I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do with it. Apparently there was a Fantastic Four Easter egg in Far From Home.
Yeah, so
yeah, I was just like, oh, I guess he already knew he was going to direct it, so I guess he wanted to tease that. But I mean, anything I can see. I mean, for as far as the all new Marvel lineup TV shows, Ironheart, was American Chavez, Miss Marvel. Not a huge fan of those characters. I mean, I did read them, but they're not my cup of tea. But I think they will make good TV shows. So we'll see what happens with that.
See, I wasn't a fan of them switching out the daughter in Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, they changed the actress.
Yeah, I'm like, that's
only because the actress is elected to go to get her education. So credit to her for that. So she went to go to college. So
Yeah,
I mean,
regarding Spider-Man, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I don't really care so much about the other Spider-Man coming back. The one thing about the movie I'm interested in, I want to see
Doctor Strange.
No, I want to see I was about to call him Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
Yeah. If Daredevil returns,
I want to see him be Spider-Man's lawyer.
Yeah, I think everybody's.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
I think everybody's only excited about the other Spider-Man coming back is because we could actually get a live action Into the Spider-Verse. You know, and that's it. Like if that wasn't something that we feel is on the table, like I don't think anybody. I think everybody would be like, oh, it's a cute Easter egg, but the fact that you can, because who I'm interested in, which is going to go into something I was going to ask everybody. What I'm interested to see who they're going to cast as Ben Reilly, who they're going to cast as, like, if they do a Spider-Verse, who are they going to cast as Spider
and Miles Morales too?
Yeah, well, Miles Morales, I can see them there's a whole host of things, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, even though he's older, I know Donald Glover really wanted to play Miles, but I think he's
Isn't he his uncle?
He's the Prowler.
Yeah, he's the Prowler.
Honestly, I would just cast a kid who plays Miles in the PS4 games. They just basically scanned his face. He's old enough. He does a good voice. I would just cast him to play.
Hell yeah.
He's excellent.
It's not
as
Will
Miles.
Smith's son, please.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's what everybody's pushing for, is for Jaden Smith to be.
No,
Miles.
God no.
First of all, they tried to push him for Static, and I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
God no.
Well, he was cosplaying aesthetic too.
He was trying to make that happen,
and they was just like, nah. They looked at After Earth. They was like, yo, we gave you a movie to carry, and you dropped the ball.
Yeah, no offense. Like I think the biggest thing is everybody's trying to push Jaden to be like his dad, and his dad is just one of a kind in that family as an actor, and they need to stop. They need Jaden shined in that Netflix series.
The anime that he did?
No, not the anime. The Netflix series that he did where they were talking about hip hop in its infancy. What was it called? I forgot the name of it. Somebody will look it up. he really shined in that series, but I think him as like Static or as Miles Morales will not work.
Well, they're also talking about maybe getting him as Wally West too.
Oh God.
I mean, they just want Jaden in some spandex.
Yeah, I think there's
they're pushing for Jaden to be some type of superhero role.
I don't think it's them pushing. I think it's him pushing it and him just throwing out like whatever black superheroes. Oh, I can do that. Like
real, I'd rather like a no-name actor, a new up-and-coming actor that actually looks and sounds the part.
Yeah. See, I'll get to that one in 2 seconds.
But what I was going to ask and what I was going to say is, if you had to cast the Fantastic Four, you know, everybody wanted to know, who do you think should be cast in the roles of the each character? We can start with you, Jerome, because you look like.
No, actually, I don't. I was about to say just don't make one sibling black and the other one white, and I'll be good. But
I mean, they explain that perfectly.
Yeah,
like
they're
adopted.
That was dumb. It was just like, just make both of them black or make both of them white.
Well, you can't.
It was like they try too hard for diversity, and then
I'll get into that later.
They tried so hard for diversity, and they're like, damn, now we got to explain this shit.
No, I don't think they tried too hard. I think they did a good job of explaining it. I just think the story was right.
That too. But also because they were not going to have the Invisible Girl be black and date Reed Richards.
I don't think that's it at all. I think there's nowhere in the comic where the Invisible Girl was black, because that's not true. Because the Thing was dating a black woman in the comics and even in the last movie, where
Kerry
Washington. Yeah, like where that. I don't think that's it. I think there's nowhere in the universe where you can explain it. There is a point in the universe, Marvel universe, where Johnny Storm was black, but here's the thing: the entire family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
It's not like on The Flash, we got a black Iris West and then a white redheaded Wally.
Yeah,
it's just like one person's black, everybody gotta be black.
You know, so
I mean, but like Nadia said, like for Fantastic Four specifically, just pick four like new people.
I will say just
pick fresh faces, fresh new people.
I will say, believe it or not, while the Fantastic Four casting is the 4 core heroes is important, I think the most important casting Marvel's going to have to do is Doctor Doom. Yeah. You're going to have somebody who can really play Doom. And for the love of God, and I'm not body shaming here, do not make Doom a skinny. Doom has to be threatening. Like, he has to be physically opposing.
Surprisingly enough, they're trying to tap what's his name from Breaking Bad and
who, Bryan Cranston?
No, he was tapped for it first, but you know he's not doing it. What's the name that's playing golf? What's his name from
Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon.
That's Doom?
From Mandalorian.
Yeah,
he plays so much villains though.
No, but the thing is, he plays it so well. They're actually really considering him coming in as Doom, which I don't think is a bad thing.
I can see it, but
because I can see him, because Doom is older than everybody in all the Fantastic Four heroes. He is older, so I could see him, and he has the voice and the look of like that strong guy. And then finally, we're gonna get probably a decent suit put together.
Thank God.
And what I would hope Fantastic Four would do is, if they do the movie, do a tribute to MF Doom. Like somewhere in there.
I was gonna say, rest in peace, Doom.
Yeah.
So have a soundtrack.
Yep. So, like hopefully have one of his songs in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I would think like he's not a bad pick.
I mean,
I think the original, what's his name from Nip Tuck, who played the original Doctor Doom in the first series, he wasn't bad at all.
Oh yeah, he wasn't bad.
It was just the script sucked. Yeah. But I would go with everybody's favorite choices right now. Emily Blunt as the Invisible Woman.
I was gonna say John Krasinski, Emily Blunt.
Those two they look perfect for the role, and the chemistry will be already there. They're freaking married. I mean, who's married to people? Never mind. There's tons of people who are married who don't have chemistry. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they got chemistry though. Perfect. They're married.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Red Ranger dude, I think he would be a good Johnny.
Yeah, I will go with Zac Efron as well for Johnny Storm. I think he can.
I was talking about what's his face. He was in Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. What's that kid's name? Oh my God, the Red Ranger from the Power Rangers remake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah, but I know who you're talking about because he's the older brother, right?
I think
And
I
Stranger
think he
Things,
would
right?
make a good Johnny.
Yeah, him.
That's a good call.
The Thing, I'm not sure.
See, but honestly, it doesn't matter because they're gonna CGI him. Everybody's gonna hate it because everybody hates CGI.
But even the first one didn't look that bad.
Yeah, nobody hated the Thing in the last one either. I don't think that's the problem.
It's the
with
script.
CGI. It's the script.
The script and the directions.
It's just such trash. Like
The script and the direction is always the problem because you have people who do not know. Which, damn. All right, give you a preview of my rant. You have people who do not. You hire these people who absolutely do not study the material. Mm-hmm. You have people who don't have a passion for the material, and then you have people who are gonna go, I'm gonna give my own artistic interpretation of the product, and that's what we're gonna do. More on that later. Yeah.
Well, running down the line. I also heard that Kevin Feige, he said that he out of all the Netflix Marvel shows, he said that if he was going to bring them into what's currently happening, he said that the only ones that he likes is Matt Murdock, Jessica Jones, and Punisher. And then I immediately turned off and changed the channel.
What happened to Luke Cage?
Well, exactly. Hold on. Can I say something? There's one thing I want to say to you,
Everybody except Iron Fist.
Yeah.
No, he didn't mention Luke Cage either.
Yeah, I want to say something,
Luke
Gerard.
Cage is
And this is just my observation. You have to take yourself out of if they don't include a black character,
a popular.
Wait, I'm not done. If they don't include, we as black people have to take ourselves out of. If they don't include a black character, that we become the reverse or anti woke system.
No.
Like
Save it.
No. I'm just saying in this case
It's gonna be me stealing my thunder.
Because the thing is, them not bringing Luke Cage in isn't because he didn't mention it, and Kevin Feige doesn't have all say at the end of it. It's not that. They're having a problem getting what's the name to come back as Luke Cage, because the thing is, everybody wants to see him as Luke Cage, and you got to remember now
he's in a new show too.
He's in new shows, so there's going to be scheduling conflicts.
It's how he's like. The question was, out of the Netflix series, would you bring them all in?
He probably never watched Luke Cage.
He didn't say, "Oh, I would love to bring Luke Cage in," but the actor. He specifically said, "Well, the only ones I really like is Matt Murdock, Jessica Jones,
not even a fan of the
and the Punisher."
But that's the thing. He asked what he would like to see.
Yeah.
It's not whether they would do it. It's just like the thing is.
Of course, you didn't like Luke Cage.
But why? But see, that's what I mean by the anti-woke thing. Like, I don't think there's anybody who didn't like Luke Cage from Disney, because and the thing is, there's a lot of things that Kevin Feige doesn't like that basically still ends up on Disney, because it's like they look at Kevin Feige like, all right, you can stick to your roots of what you like, but this is what's going to be popular. I don't think they've always said that if they're going to bring those Netflix shows in, they're going to bring all of them back, because but unfortunately, I think more people would rather have Iron Fist deleted, which I still think
I liked Iron Fist.
Yeah, I wouldn't delete Iron Fist. I think Iron Fist out of all of them was just badly written. And
the first half of season 1 was, because it was too much. It was too much corporate domination.
No, I don't even think that. I just think all of it was just badly written. And then when it got to season 2, it redeemed itself a bit.
But then I think they reacted to the backlash, because in season 2 they focused more on Colleen.
She was Iron Fist.
Yeah, she was Iron Fist. So I was like, they're probably just like, okay, people don't like Finn Jones, so maybe we should go with Colleen.
Yeah, and
let's
replace him, and we won't even notice.
And I think they did him a disservice by just writing a bad story.
Yeah,
but and that happens with a lot of things. Like, you got to think about it. Luke Cage could have went either way if Luke Cage was written terribly, but they actually got a really good writer to write Luke Cage.
I do have my thoughts on the Jamaicans in season 2.
I didn't have a problem with that, because that was just funny to me.
That shit was hilarious, bro.
Yeah, but he was a good villain.
It's not even him as a villain. My biggest issue is
his accent.
It's how everyone in Harlem was talking about and treating and reacting to the Jamaicans as though they've never seen a Jamaican person before. That was like if you go back and watch the show,
you got a point there.
the way they were acting in Harlem was like they have never seen a Jamaican before.
Knowing damn well they be going to the stores.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up a good point.
He's
but
like, oh, I don't understand him, man. You know,
I'm gonna have to rewatch.
no,
All the shows got weak in the last, except Daredevil. Daredevil was great, but I feel like once they knew the shows were ending, they all got weak.
They was just like, yo, fuck this.
And I don't think Luke Cage got weak. I think when you killed Cottonmouth, people were like, what are you doing? I think a lot of people were like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah.
He was the best villain.
He was excellent. Oh my god.
See, now that he's dead, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones season 3 was better than 2.
Nah.
I like 2
because like 2 with
I hated 3.
2 with the mom.
Like,
with the mom.
Bad.
I'm on the fence with that. I agree and I don't agree because I'm on the fence with that.
I didn't like the one with the mom. I like 3 because what's the blonde chick name? The Hellcat.
Hellcat.
I'm talking about her. I hated.
Oh yeah, 2 wasn't that good either. I hate Trish.
I hated Trish from season 1 because she bitched and complained and moaned, and then at the end she got what she wanted, which was superpowers. So when she got locked up and got beat up in season 3, I was happy. That's probably
that's why he was happy about
that's
it.
That's probably why I like season 3 better. But I thought that ended good.
You're gonna trigger some people with that female violence.
I hate it. Well, she got beat up by her sister. She didn't get beat up by a dude.
Jarrell, you are such a misogynist. Really, I
hated Trish.
You're an advocate for women violence, women on women violence.
Let me add to that. Then, so as far as
now you're gonna trigger more people.
As far as the Marvel slate is concerned, I actually said this publicly. I was not feeling like I was like, ain't nobody checking for no WandaVision. Let me finish.
Wait. Nobody's checking for WandaVision? Like, I don't know what world you're living in.
Let me finish. But then when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, like they seem to be. I was like, Vision. Because the thing is, when I watched the trailer, I was just like, it might be a situation where Vision's not actually there, and she just creates all this in her mind. So I was just like, all right.
Don't spoil the entire series because clearly that's what it's going.
I mean, well, that was in the trailer. I mean, it reminded me of the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. So I was just like, you know what? I said after seeing the trailer, I was like, I will watch this. I'll review it. I'll get behind this. But I don't think it was a good idea to have that come out first before Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Well, okay. Let me wrap this up.
They should have started.
Let me wrap this up. Hold on. No. Let me wrap this up to this. There are comic book fans right now that are probably like Googling my address so they can come meet you outside. Not because you said nobody's looking for it, because obviously you've never read any of the Marvel comic books concerning the Avengers and Wanda and Wanda Maximoff. The story takes place from a series where she did reinvent Vision and also invented her children. That's what all this is coming from. So they're mixing 2 stories, which I think they're doing it very well, which is the Avengers story where Wanda wanted a baby with Vision, where it kind of takes place with like what happened in Infinity Wars, which they gave a good preview to when Thanos took the Infinity Stone out of Vision's head and you saw him go pale.
Yeah.
That is actually in the comic book when he actually lost his self and his memory. He came back not as the colorful Vision that we knew, but as just a pale, and they've done this in the video games, just a pale white android. And he didn't remember Wanda. He didn't remember the love they had. And she wanted a regular life, so she invented 2 kids, and because her powers is chaos powers. So she invented into reality 2 kids to come together, which you also got to remember the way they wrote in the story. She has part of the Reality Stone powers in her, and she has the K, which is brought out her chaos powers, and she invented it. Where one thing I'm hoping they will bring together is Mephisto, because there's a point in the comic book in that story where the 2 children whose soul she invented, Mephisto thought they were the 2 pieces of his missing soul, so he was trying to track her down and take it back. So that's the story they're going with first. And then they're also going with the House of M storyline, where she rewrites history and rewrites reality by eradicating mutants.
That's Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, which is why they're bringing in the Doctor Strange
it's called Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Because they're going to say that somehow by her doing that, she brings about the Marvel multiverse.
And which explains the Spider-Verse movie, Spider-Man 3.
Which will explain mutants coming in, which will explain
Ant-Man, Quantumania, all that
which
stuff.
will explain how the Fox mutant characters are coming over. And of course they have to bring it out before Falcon and Winter Soldier, because Falcon and Winter, even though technically they're coming out at different times, they're technically going on at the same time, because at this time, Falcon and Bucky and Falcon are trying to find their way in their roles as the new heroes, because there's going to be a point where Falcon is still is he?
Well, he put the shield in the museum.
Yeah, but you got to remember, he's still a wanted criminal. And that's
right.
Still,
that's never been resolved yet.
Yeah, because there's a point where, I mean, let's not get it twisted, even though Infinity Endgame should have erased all that, but he's still a wanted criminal, and there's still a point where
so's Bucky.
Yeah, so like where they have to redeem themselves, and then on top of that, they're not going to give him the shield anyway. They already said they're bringing out U.S. Agent. So
no, that's fine and all. My point was, and this is a question to everybody: if Disney Plus said to you, "Hey, on Friday, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, and WandaVision are going to all drop on the same day at the same time," which one are you watching first, and which one are you watching last?
WandaVision first, and Loki.
If
all
three of them came out at the same time,
to be honest with you, I'm not watching Loki. So
WandaVision first.
I'm just WandaVision and then Falcon Winter Soldier.
Not because I have a hate, not because I have a hate towards it, but WandaVision I feel like is the glue right now for the Phase 4.
And plus, I'm an X-Men fan, so
it's the glue for the Phase 4, because one of the things I'm interested in seeing that they said they're going to do is, I'm interested in seeing how they're going to bring. I heard there could be a rumor where Quicksilver from the Fox universe is supposed to be in this, because remember her brother is gone, and if you bring him from there, because look, I had put up a meme a long time ago on Facebook, like with Fox and this is when they first merged. Like, Magneto's family is finally together, because one of the things I'm pretty sure everybody's forgotten about, and Nadia, I don't know if you watched it, what happened to The Gifted? I don't know if you ever watched the show The Gifted.
That was on FX.
Nah.
Yeah. If you didn't watch The Gifted, you missed a great series, because they took all like the B and C rated X-Men heroes and they put them all in there and made them great. So the thing is, you have Polaris in The Gifted, which they constantly mention Magneto, and they're not mentioning Magneto from any other universe but the Fox universe. So if you bring them in, imagine you have Polaris from that universe, Quicksilver from that universe, Wanda and Magneto. He can have his family together again.
Oh, yeah, because now they're allowed to say mutants. Also, before they weren't allowed to say mutants.
Yeah, the M word.
Yeah, the M word. So just imagine if we can bring that together. That'll be so. I'd rather see WandaVision first. Although,
what about you, Nadia?
I mean, I'm excited for anything new at this point.
Well, which one would you want to see first?
But I'm saying, but if all three of those were in your DVR at the exact same time, which one?
Well, I guess like the guy said, WandaVision is going to connect everything, so it seems more important. Like, I don't really know if we necessarily need Loki, but I'm gonna probably watch everything, honestly, because Marvel is smart. Like, they have a formula and they make everything connect, even if it's like the littlest thing. They have a plan. Yeah. So I'll probably watch it all.
And I don't think it's that why Loki doesn't connect, because remember, Loki is going to bring in all the time travel stuff, because remember, he has to jump from time to time to either defeat himself or fix something that he's messed up with the he doesn't have the time stone, he has the ether, right?
He has the Tesseract.
The Tesseract, yeah. He has to fix everything that he messes up with the Tesseract. Because remember, the Tesseract is the only thing that was never returned.
Yeah.
Like, one of them was never returned, so he has to fix that.
Yeah. Well, Cap returned it, but that's because Bruce Banner tried to say that changing the past doesn't change the future.
Yeah,
he tried to debunk every single time travel logic.
Yeah. He tried to debunk what the one looked him right in the eye and said, like, if you don't put it back, you're gonna mess it up. He was just
and it's weird because like I understand Bruce Banner's logic, but I'm like, nah, because like I understand it as far as saying if you go to the past, yes, that becomes a part of your future as far as like your life history is concerned. But once you change something, it changes the future.
Yeah, let me stop looking at the Giants before I get my blood pressure up.
And I'm not a fan of them not recasting Black Panther.
Oh well,
and I said this before.
Yeah.
There is a huge difference between honoring Chadwick Boseman and honoring T'Challa.
I love the character.
They did not end Chadwick Boseman. What they did was they killed off the T'Challa character, and I'm not okay. And I'm not okay with that.
It's
not okay with that.
Perfect episode to discuss it.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that. I'm only not okay with it if they don't. If they cast his sister, I'm not okay with it.
That's the only way I'll watch
she's
it.
supposed to be temporarily taking
if
over. Like that was already the plan before anything.
Yeah, because like I see it as like, okay, she did it in the comic book, it was fine. But if they don't cast Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger to take over,
oh God,
I won't watch it because I think Killmonger is the only one who I think can take over. If you're not going to recast him, if you're not going to recast it and get somebody new, then the only logical thing is to use Killmonger.
Not to me. To me, the logical thing to do is to give Shuri the crown.
Right. But the thing is,
but she's temporary.
Yeah, it's even in the comic book, she didn't stack up, and I can guarantee you.
Yeah, but we talk about the movie.
Yeah, but even in the movie, if
she could stack up in the movie.
No, but in the movie, if you put her in there, that's going to kill the franchise. It's going to murder the franchise because people are going to be like, no.
Why? Because she's a woman.
No, not because she's a woman.
Because she's a black woman.
Oh, no, good Lord!
No,
you sound like the people I'm about to go after in a few minutes.
Yeah, like it has nothing to do with that. I can't see. She played a great supporting character, but if you're asking me, could she carry the franchise as Black Panther? No, I can't see her.
You sound like one of these people that would have that pink blue hair that be screeching all the damn time.
But we're talking about logic.
It's not about logic. Can you carry that franchise?
That's like saying cast Felicity as Arrow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's two different conversations. Like I wasn't talking about an actor carrying the flag. I'm talking about logic to the Black Panther story.
But if that's the case,
it makes more sense to let the princess of the crown take over than to resurrect someone from the dead.
You know what's actually going to make more sense?
First of all,
they can just have Ibaka just take over.
Yeah, here's the thing. They never said Killmonger was dead. You just saw him sitting there. They never said he died.
He did lay down the next frame.
So let me get this straight. So the guy who basically was already the king of Wakanda and waged war on the entire planet didn't go back on his ideals at the end of the film. Still felt the same way that he felt. I want to die with my ancestors in the ocean, not on the boat. We gonna take him out of prison and be like, hey, since the child dead, we understand that you're gonna blow up the world, but we want you to be king again.
Hold on,
that don't make no sense.
What happened with Bucky?
What happened with Bucky?
Well, Bucky
was in Wakanda.
Bucky was brainwashed.
Exactly, and they fixed Bucky. So what you're trying to say is
Killmonger wasn't brainwashed.
No, but here's
the thing. Brainwash him.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they brainwash him, but what you're saying is Killmonger can't have a redemption story where even though he felt that way. Because the thing is, nobody ever saw Killmonger as a villain. They saw him as just a opposite to T'Challa. Remember, they always...
Who's they?
Most people...
I view him as a Magneto.
Exactly, because the thing is, Charles Xavier and Magneto both want the same thing. They have two different ways of going about it.
Wakanda saw him as a villain.
I have a solution to your question. What he did was villainous. I have a solution to everybody's point here, because you have...
Just recast it.
No, not even that. You literally have an out with that situation. Is that you do use the multiverse WandaVision, and you can have Wanda rewrite Killmonger not being dead at all, and boom.
It's just so if you're going to do that,
I say is lazy writing.
I mean, it is lazy. It is lazy writing, but it is a solution.
It's a solution. But
just have someone else take over the suit, not T'Challa.
Yeah,
there's other Black Panthers.
That too. Also, you can
but I mean, the thing is, it's not that I don't think having the princess take over. You have to look at it as a franchise set. If people go into the theater and she had played which will bring into my point about Kristen Wiig later. If she had played such an outstanding role where you were just like, wow, I remember Shuri. And I mean, it's not that I didn't remember Shuri. It's just that I thought Shuri was good supporting him doing whatever. I think if you put her in the role as to take over the story? No. Then I think you just want to.
No, but you and I are having two different conversations.
No. What I'm saying is, how are we having two different conversations?
Because you're talking from a standpoint of the actor who's going to take the place.
No, he's talking about the character.
I'm talking about the character.
Sure.
If you have
From the
Shuri,
movie.
if you have Shuri take over, what did Shuri do in the first movie that made her stand out, other than being
take the mantle.
his support in the entire movie? Her being the good technical support, her doing whatever.
She's gonna need some serious character development because all we know from Shuri is that she's smart.
Yeah,
because literally that's all the character development. And you can look at Infinity War, her scenes in Infinity War, and she's nothing more than a
backdrop,
a backdrop in Endgame, like in that fight scene. But all we know from the Black Panther movie with her, she has no real character arc besides that she's T'Challa's sister and she's very smart. That's all we have.
And she created the entire Black Panther
yes,
arsenal.
But that means you're going to have to use Black Panther 2.
And she's next in line to the throne.
But you have to use Black Panther 2 to actually give her character development and a whole arc for herself. Yeah. And that takes time. So you can't just jump into and just give her the mantle.
Doesn't Marvel plan everything out? Like
no, but it's not about planning it out.
I don't see how that's different than resurrecting Michael B. Jordan and just like
because Michael B. Jordan he already had the development as being the warrior.
But no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying
having his ideals and having everything.
Well, Shuri is going to take some serious. I'm not agreeing with you.
But it's going to take time too to now convince Killmonger to be a good guy and go against every single thing he stood for in the first film.
But I'm not saying that.
So what's the difference as far as time is concerned?
I'm not saying Killmonger, but you're talking about somebody who, okay, I'll put it this way. You're talking about somebody who is not remembered compared to somebody who stood out. You know, and I'm not saying like Shuri as a woman or as a character not remembered, but you're talking about somebody who, just in my opinion, if she doesn't show up in Black Panther 2, I'm gonna be like, okay.
But now you're talking about the actress and the character.
That has nothing to do with the actress. It is the storyline.
Can we get Storm?
Yeah, you're talking about somebody. Okay, you're talking about somebody who had a great support to the main character. It's like saying that why don't you give Angela Bassett the mantle?
She old.
But now you're talking about. See, now you're going against everything you're saying. You're talking about age. You're talking about who she is. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about age.
No.
How is it?
Because if that was the case, they already answered that. Because if that was the case, she would have been Black Panther when the father died.
No,
they gave it to T'Challa.
Hold on. But then now you're making my point, because at the end of the day, Black Panther is passed down to father and son, not father and daughter.
Who said it was? Who said that?
He did. He said in the movie. Black Panther he said it in what do you call it, Civil War, and he said it in
he said the mantle can only be passed.
The mantle's like not about entitlement, and
it's passed down from father to son.
Herself.
I think he said it in Civil War, and I think he said it in the
father to son.
Oh, you think he said that, or he actually?
No, he actually said it.
I think I had to check.
Yeah, he said
it's passed down.
It's passed down from father to son. So the thing is, if you're saying that
from warrior to warrior,
if you're saying that she can't date,
we could do a whole episode on this.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, and even if you're saying it's passed down from warrior to warrior, then was his mother a warrior? No. Was Shuri a warrior? Not really.
That was my
he said not really. Wasn't she there in the end game?
But that was the point we just said. What did you see Shuri doing in game other than put her hands up and pow 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 pow, and that's it? You didn't, but you saw everybody else go. You saw every other female character in there except for Shuri go ham in their fight scene. You saw Shuri come out. And that's what I mean by not about the actress, because I think she's a phenomenal actress. Can she?
She also got canceled too, but I'll get into that today.
Yeah. Can she be the character if you put her in Black Panther 2, which they've put up pictures of her in the suit? Can you see her carrying that mantle and people going, okay, I'm watching this movie without people going, all right, this is some bullshit. Why did y'all do this? I do agree. Either you recast Black Panther and bring back T'Challa and recast somebody you can put in there.
That's the simplest.
I'll be honest with y'all. All I want from Marvel right now is my X-Men. That's it. I could care less than anything else.
Or you bring Killmonger back, or you, as Justice suggested, you have Wanda alter reality.
Yeah, do some lazy writing.
Yeah, do lazy writing. Do it, whatever.
And it's the only time I will support lazy writing, because the only time I will support lazy writing. Okay,
just my personal opinion. If you cast Shuri and leave her in there, you're going to bury the Black Panther franchise, and you're going to kill what they've bought so far. Not because Shiri, the actress, is going to kill it. It's because even I, who would be way for this, cannot sit down and go, this is going to really make me watch Black Panther. And I can't see it, but let's move on to the other thing.
We got to get into our Wonder Woman review now, folks. But first, I just want to say this, just an advice to any other podcaster out there: do not watch your favorite football team while you're doing your podcast, because your blood pressure is going to rise, and the Giants is making me boil.
But see, this is just like me and Jarrell watching the Knicks.
Yeah, right.
I don't watch this and go, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. I'm like, this is just Giants being the Giants.
So we're gonna get into our Wonder Woman review. Jarrell would like to go last, so I'm going to grant him that wish. Jarrell will go last. I will kick this off with my thoughts, and I guess
we'll let Nadia go second.
And then Nadia will go second, and Sean. I just want to say first, I don't hate the movie. I don't think it's the worst superhero movie ever made. That goes to, I don't know.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I'm not even going to say the catchphrase yet, because I already used the catchphrase for that. But you say you have one for when I have to say it, so I'm going to leave it for that time. I mean, I don't think it's Batman. Like, people, let me just first address the reviews I saw online with people calling it Superman Returns. I was just like, no. Like, no, it's not. How's that Superman Returns? I mean, yes, that has, Patty Jenkins did say she was inspired by Richard Donner and everything else. Like, who hasn't been inspired by the original Superman 1 and 2, okay? My problem with the movie is the plot. And I've said it to Nani, I said it to Sean, I said it to a lot of my friends. I watched this movie and I went, holy shit, DC remade The Wishmaster.
Yep.
And
True.
and the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a reason why a lot of writers do not use the wish trope, because you kind of do write yourself into a box. Because when you have someone who has a power of making wishes or granting wishes, usually the usual conclusion, unless you're going to kill the genie or kill the person that is granting the wishes, usually is reversing the wish.
I'm just laughing. Unless you're going to kill the genie. It's a genie, yo.
Unless you're going to kill the person who's making the wish. I mean, you kind of write yourself into a box, and I felt that's what they did here with Maximum Allure and just having Wonder Woman. Let me do my pros and cons here. Pros that I like. We get character development on Diana, especially her moving on main focus of getting over Steve Trevor. We get introduction to Wonder Woman things that some of us have been asking for, such as the invisible jet. I like how they did that concept. She flies in this one, which we saw a glimpse at the end of the Wonder Woman first movie.
And she gave an explanation to why she doesn't fly.
Yes, and she also gave an explanation. So they did hit points on the Wonder Woman lore. I mean, once again, that first scene with the Amazons, gorgeous shooting.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I like that.
From a technical filmmaking standpoint, you can touch on this as well. Well, I'm not a filmmaker, but you are. But you can touch on certain things too. I mean, in certain scenes, that green screen is popping. Like, that blue screen is popping. Like,
when she was flying?
Not when she's flying, but in certain scenes too. I'm just like, okay, you clearly filmed the shit. Like, y'all could have cleaned this up a little bit here.
But honestly though, to touch on that for a second, I mean, is there really a movie where that doesn't get mentioned at least once, or like nothing, like no VF effects are ever perfect? Because a lot of people were talking about, the CGI. The only time during that whole film where I was just like, oh yeah, that actually does look pretty bad was when she left
the whole movie.
Was when she left Steve. And then she was like running away.
Yeah.
The shot of her like running in the street.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that out.
That was bad.
Yeah, that one looked bad.
Yeah,
but aside from that one, I don't have a problem.
When she was running in the desert, that was bad.
I mean,
I didn't have a problem.
My main problem also, of course, like I said, was the trope with the wishes. And let me explain it for those who wonder, like, what's the wishing trope? Usually in writing, and Jarrell can probably elaborate more on this, there's a reason why writers and directors and people who don't use the wish trope, because like I alluded to, you put yourself into a box. So if I have a villain who has unlimited wishes and things like that, you're going to put yourself into someone who's wishing for themselves to have unlimited power and things like that. You're going to put yourself into a box because wishing can just fix a lot of the problems. Like, I mean, and granted, they did do the monkey paw effect.
That's how they try to clean it up.
They try to clean it up with the monkey paw effect, but the fact that everybody at the end hearts grew 2 sizes bigger and just like everybody receded their wishes, and then the fact that Maxwell Lord,
not everybody,
of course not Cheetah, which was smart. Thankfully they didn't do that. She didn't say I received my wish, which I thought was great. But the fact that Maxwell Lord at the end is just like, hey, I'm reunited with my son after doing all this fucked up shit. I get no consequences whatsoever. And it's just like, we just gonna let him go scot-free? One of them, they gonna go hunt for this motherfucker?
That was my beef with Stargirl season finale.
I mean, that's that too. It's just like there was no where was you had stakes in the beginning, right? But where is the consequences of these stakes? So it's just like, okay, we're just gonna wish everything away. And I want to address the little thing about the Steve Trevor thing real quick before.
Let me say real quick about that. And this is the only thing I can really say in defense of why he didn't get locked up. The thing about it is, if you're Wonder Woman, if you're the president of the United States or anybody else, the president, for God's sake, wished for nuclear weapons to murder people, can you then be a hypocrite and turn to Maxwell Lord?
Yes.
Oh shit. I'm
the fucking president.
I think
he should have lit his ass up. Are you kidding me?
I think it was one of those things where it's just like, yeah, you were the cause of all this, but like Nadia said on her IG review, a lot of fucked up people out. Like humankind ain't shit. Because everybody kind of felt guilty, because it was just like, he made this wish, but I'm the one that made the wish. Yeah. Like I wished for people to die. So it's like, I can't really be like, arrest this man when I just wished for people to die.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna be held accountable for you actually granting it.
But I mean, at the end of the day,
like everybody had to be held accountable for that.
Didn't the wishes kind of take everything back, so it kind of put them back at 0 anyway? Everybody except for Cheetah
and Diana
and the guy that made the coffee, because they made their wishes on the original stone.
Yes,
whereas like everyone else,
made sense.
Yeah, which made sense. And even that guy, he wished for coffee, but then he couldn't drink it because it was too hot. But everyone else made their wish on Maxwell Lord. So once he renounces his, then everything, like you're right, everything goes back to 0.
And that's the problem with the wish trope usually. It's just that you kind of feel like, I felt like after the ending, I was just like, so besides Diana and Cheetah, so this whole, I waited 2 hours, I watched 2 hours and 30 minutes of it, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I mean, for her to, I love the Steve Trevor inclusion. I love that arc right there, because that was good, because even in Justice League, she was still, because Batman was being a dick. So Batman,
he ain't want to hit it.
Yeah, Batman hit that sore spot, like, oh, this Steve Trevor, you can tell she's still reeling from Steve. Yeah. So that gave her a nice closure. But also, here's the thing too.
She was like, no box for you.
But it just felt like, okay, so 2 hours and 30 minutes, so we get Cheetah, and Cheetah stays Cheetah, but everything else that Maxwell Lord did is just...
She didn't stay Cheetah. Maxwell Lord turned her into the cat.
Yeah,
she turned herself. She said, "I want to be an apex predator."
But the monkey paw.
He granted, because he told her. He said, "What do you want?" He granted her that. So because that got rescinded, she went back to looking like a normal person. Yeah. But she still has the powers because she never rescinded her original wish from the stone. Yeah. Which is why I'm like, they can save her character now, which is good, because they did say she was a doctor. She was studying animal. So she can go back to doing the thing to give her the accident. Hopefully they can salvage that one.
Yeah, but then if you're doing all of that, what was the whole point of putting her in this film?
No, I think
introduction.
I think they did a good job with her. I think Kristen Wiig was the brightest point of that movie, because even though she was gone, what I'm disappointed in is they didn't take her arc further. And when I mean even further, like, I wanted to see more of her than Maxwell Lord. I wanted to see more of her transformation in slower stages, leading up to the last stage with her.
You mean Maxwell Trump? Because clearly he was an allegory for Trump.
I don't think he was an allegory for Trump, because Trump is more of a Maxwell Lord
Pedro
didn't have
himself said he based it off of Trump.
Yeah, but I think he based it off of Trump now compared to. Remember, at the end of the story, they show he was poor. Trump has never been poor. He's poor. He was a loser. He was a lot of things.
Well, they did call him a bad businessman.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing you can
Hair
bring
too.
that to.
I was just like, oh my god,
but you can't, and not for nothing. I don't know, disclaimer. I don't know what his feelings are towards his kids, but Maxwell Lord loved his kid more than
his Asian kid.
Yeah, his Asian kid loved his kid more than.
I was wondering how I was like,
more than what it seems Trump loves his regular kids, except for Ivanka.
I'm not gonna lie. The whole time watching this movie, I was like, is he Asian? Is he Filipino?
Maybe he's both.
Is he Latino? I couldn't figure him out. I was like,
we didn't see the mom.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he's Filipino because I know Filipinos like mixed with a little Latino and Asian. I was just like, is he Filipino? I was like, what is this? I don't know why I was watching this. Like, what is this kid? Like that Family Guy joke with the Rock. Like, what is he? I was like, what is he? But I don't know. For me, was it as terrible as people were ranting about? There's good things I liked, but there's a lot, like I said, the Wish thing. Because if you watch the Wishmaster movie, and the reason why, let me explain that why. If you watch the Wishmaster movie and you watch Wonder Woman back to back, it's almost the same ending with people wishing the stuff back, and everything gets reversed. It's I wish I take something from you.
What would you like? That's
there you go. What would you like?
What would you like?
What would you like? And it's the same type of movie, and like I said, not to sound before I pass to Nadia, wishing tropes are very hard to. Not saying it's hard, but wishing tropes are. It's a plot device that can put you in a box if you're not clever enough to have a concept of how you're going to deal with wishes, because. Like, even with, I mean, granted, they had rules. The rules were, wish you take something from it. But not to bring in Aladdin. Aladdin's a good wish movie. Like, you have 3 wishes, and the genie goes, that's it. It goes back into the slum until somebody else discovers the lamp. And, in the end of Aladdin, the 3rd wish, what happens? The genie is free. So nothing gets reversed or anything like that. But you have an ending. This one is just like, okay, so what is the 3rd Wonder Woman going to be? Because let's take the Snyderverse out of it, and you have Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 84. Where do you go from here? Especially after that ending, does no one remember what happened? To like did that guy remember that he wished that woman dropped dead in that restaurant, or is that just gone? Like, it's just like,
well, you got to jump forward in time.
Yeah,
to get you got to bring her to like modern times.
Yeah, but then
people can get over that.
And then that's the thing. And then that means if we're going forward, then that means the Justice League. So what's going to happen? Then you have to do. Then that's when you really do have to include things that happen in Snyder's verse as well.
I have a concept idea for Wonder Woman 3, but I can save it to the end.
Yeah, but Nadia, have at it.
Where do I start? One thing for me that was annoying was that people overhyped this movie like crazy. Like, literally, the only thing on my Instagram feed was Wonder Woman. Everywhere. Like, literally everywhere. And then, like, a few cosplayers saw it early. And, like, everyone's posting all these, like, rave reviews, how this movie's so great. And then I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? Because I didn't watch the same shit you watched. I found so much wrong with it. Before I did my full, like, in-depth review, I did a quick little spoiler-free review on IG where people were, like, congratulating me as if I was coming out. They were like, oh, my God, thank you for being so honest. Like, mad people were surprised. Like, they're like, wow, you're being mad honest about it. Like, I watched what you watched. I don't know what these other people watched. And then, like, from there, it's spun into, like, a whole, I don't know, like a whole nother thing. But now more people, I guess, agree with me. It seems like a lot of people didn't like it either. But yeah, I'm gonna get into like what didn't work for me. The whole witch thing made like no sense. It was just a mess. They could give us a freaking Great Wall of China and basically everything that people wished can happen, but they couldn't bring Trevor back, like in his own body. Like, I absolutely hated that shit. Like, nobody saw a problem with like hijacking some random dude's body. Like, basically, she just like raped some random ass dude who has no recollection. Like,
She didn't rape
it was
him.
just stupid.
She didn't rape
And then,
him.
you know, if the roles were reversed, woman would have had like a fucking heart attack with that shit. And then,
Which is true.
The feminist would have.
But I don't.
Feminist would have
After-
snapped.
Huh?
Feminists would have snapped.
Yeah, they would have. You know, they would have had a heart attack. Like,
More
that
day
shit
later.
was retarded.
See, but I don't understand that though, because it was like he was transformed into Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor gave consent.
But she's the only one who saw him as Steve.
In shallow hell.
But consent was still given, and plus we never
by Steve, not by the man's body that was being used.
And plus, we never heard what Diana's wish actually was. Like we don't like.
Didn't
Like
she say, I want.
I
Steve
will
back
give you
or
that.
something?
no,
Yeah.
she didn't say anything.
She had her eyes closed.
Yeah,
she thought she said her wish through her mind.
Yeah,
thought
she
it.
held the stone. She
Yeah,
closed.
well,
she,
they should have brought Steve back in his own body. Like, this dude basically wakes up not knowing he just banged some woman. Like, what? Nobody realized this dude was missing.
but he doesn't have a recollection of that either.
Oh,
Because he's at the end of the
I
film.
mean, I'm not gonna
this
lie.
is really going.
I would be mad depressed if I had no recollection of being gouged out. I mean,
yeah, but he didn't.
It was stupid.
Yeah, he didn't know either. But
yeah, that makes this movie more dark.
Yeah, he had no recollection. Like,
I mean, she brings up a good point. We had a giant wall that was built in like 10 seconds, but there's no way you could recreate Steve's actual body
but
and bring him back.
But the thing is, I feel like that depends on what Diana's wish was. Because for all we know, she could have said. Remember, because people were hitting on her constantly throughout the entire film. She probably said something like,
Bring back his spirit or something.
yeah, like, I wish one of these guys were like Steve Trevor, and they just took somebody and turned him into Steve Trevor.
No, that's why I said I give it to you because you didn't hear what she said. I understand, which also still goes into the logic of where, like, if you're making a wish, why didn't you just wish for his body? But then also you could say, well, he puts it plainly at the end. He was like when she said, what do you call it? I don't want to lose you. And he said, I'm already gone,
Basically.
which makes perfect sense. Like, I haven't been here for the last like 80, 90 years. I'm gone already.
And also, let's be honest, from a storyline standpoint, if they did just recreate his body, there'd be no reason for her to rescind it.
True. Right.
well,
But
the
even-
whole movie was a mess anyway.
No, but continue. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. I just hated that shit. And I'm like, Patty Jenkins is all about woman empowerment, but the whole movie, Wonder Woman is putting his dick before the world. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just really
Not
letting
Wonder
that.
Woman for me.
That's got to be a great quote because I'm really letting that set in. Like, he put his dick before the rest of the world.
The whole opening sequence of the movie was beautiful, but it had nothing to do with the movie. It did not fit. And then Wonder Woman didn't learn the lesson herself. You can't cut corners.
And that's
She
why
was like,
Warner Brothers
Steve
wanted
is
that
back.
cut.
I don't care how he's back. It doesn't matter. People are starting to go crazy. It doesn't matter because Steve is back.
See, but that's real. But to me, that's real though, because but it goes back to your IG post of saying, mankind ain't shit. Because
mankind ain't shit.
And apparently Wonder Woman isn't
Wonder
either.
Woman was selfish.
Yeah, no, but but
that's the whole theme,
No, but
selfishness, yeah.
I like that aspect because they kept that shit real. It's like, yeah, you're gonna wish people to die. You're gonna wish that certain people get sent back to where they come from. Like,
I know I would.
Like, if you the president, you gonna wish for nukes to blow up other countries. Like, that was some real ass shit.
I don't think nobody's disputing that. I thought that was real also. But
you would not want me to have that power.
But I wouldn't. But I like the fact that Wonder Woman, at least for a split second, fell for that like everyone else did. It wasn't like everyone else.
She cut corners and she didn't learn her own lesson.
Yeah, it's not like everybody else wasn't shit, but she was the one person. It's like, nah, like she was
getting on Barbara for doing the same thing.
Yep.
Hypocrite.
Yep.
Hypocrite.
True.
Yeah, she was being it.
I like Barbara calling her out on it.
Yeah.
Like,
I like seeing Wonder Woman being a hypocrite. I like Wonder Woman seeing her beat to a bloody pulp with a black eye. Because like you don't. When's the last time you saw Wonder Woman get her ass beat?
Well, she didn't do any ass whooping.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Oh,
All she
you
did
do
was
mean
web
live
sling.
action?
She said web
with
sling.
horrible CGI.
I mean, live action or just in general?
In the first one, she kind of got her ass.
She got her ass kicked in that last DC animated movie when they like chop her ass in half with Darkseid or something like. Didn't Darkseid kick her ass in Apocalypse War?
They cut her.
Oh,
arm.
Bloodlines.
Yeah, Apocalypse War.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, she got her ass kicked in there.
I mean, she got her arm cut off, but then at the end of the film, when she fought, it was the 1-on-4. She looked at them and said, "I'm sorry for what I'm going to do to y'all."
Oh yeah,
so they tried to bring it back. No, but regarding,
she got her arm cut off.
Yeah, but regarding the lack of fighting thing, I mean, I just took that as like, you know, it's 1984. You know, she's trying because she wasn't trying to be a hero that was out there in the world. Because all the stuff she was doing it on the low. She was saving people on the low. She was getting rid of cameras. So it's like you can't be out there with a sword and shield.
Yeah, and that's
like the lasso seemed kind of appropriate.
Well, for the lack of action part, I mean, I think for this
there
film,
were 5 action sequences.
but the pacing of it wasn't like the first one. I would say the pacing was a little bit different when it came to the action scenes, because like the first movie we had the big set piece was the No Man's Land, right? That's like the one everybody remembers from the first movie. This one, I think they wanted to go more into a character study of Diana getting over Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
They did a bad job.
Yeah, because they made her super ass selfish, which a lot of people didn't like. But for me, I thought that the Diana Steve Trevor dynamic, not the body swapping thing, that didn't kind of work for me. I mean, I thought that they could have did something a little different to bring Steve back. But that's why I said once again, with the wishing thing, you write yourself into a box. Mm-hmm. The minute they was like, "Oh, Chris Pine is coming back." Please tell me that's an deception. When they said, "Oh, thank you, God," when they said Chris Pine is coming back, I was just like, "Okay, you're already gonna write yourself into a box because now you have to explain how is Steve Trevor coming back, unless they would have said something like Earth 2 Steve Trevor or something like that. But you haven't introduced the multiverse to the movies yet. So how are you gonna? So once that and here's the crazy part, folks. The movie that we got here, this plot leaked months in advance, and I didn't believe it when YouTubers broke the news because they was like, "Oh, this is the rumored storyline," and I was like, "That sounds terrible. They're not gonna do this wish trope." Christmas Day, motherfuckers really did the wish trope. So
I don't know. I wasn't like I liked the whole like tribute aspect, like the whole Linda Carter thing was beautiful, but it just felt like they did a bad job of it. Like the whole making the plane disappear, like it was cool to see that scene.
Yeah.
But it was annoying because it was like she's getting weak, and then she just did this like, oh, this one time in band camp, I remembered my dad taught me how to do this. And like she made a plane disappear. Yeah, like I was like, this is bullshit.
Yo, Nadia.
And then like she I don't know.
She said it.
Hold on,
the
Nadia.
whole, like, her trying to fly like transition was terrible. It was literally all web slinging and like CGI. Like I said this in my review, it looked like it was shot in somebody's basement. Like I could do a better job of web slinging. It was bad.
Yo, Nadia, what happened today? Yo, you just throwing one-liners out there.
She got puns for days.
Yo, it's just like yo.
Yeah, like this one time at band camp, my dad taught me how to make a plane disappear.
Yo.
He did my shit.
I mean, I was happy to see the Invisible Jet. Me
I was.
I was just happy. I was like,
no, I was happy to see it. They just did a bad job of making it happen.
I was just waiting for that Super Friends theme to just go in to come in with it.
I agree with Nadia with how she made the plane disappear, because one in the first movie she's like, I have no father, and now she's just like, yeah, my daddy once made Themyscira disappear.
Oh damn! Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, she said that. Yeah, I'm not a 100% stan. You know, like I recognize that. You know, and then she was just like, yeah, I made a mug disappear once, and I was like, when? and then she was just like, yeah, but I can't find them. I was like, first of all, let's not. Why are we glossing over the fact that you just stole a plane? Like she stole an airplane, she made it disappear, and then she literally told you, although you've never known me to have this magical power before, I have the magical power ability to make things disappear, but I can't make things reappear. So you stole an airplane, you landed it somewhere, and now you can't find it.
So she couldn't make planes disappear during World War I, but she could do it in the 80s.
Yeah, because she could do it in the 80s, and it was just like, there was just no explanation. It's like she said. It's like it would have been nice if there was just if there was like a development, but she said
exactly.
She said it as though she's always been able to do this, and I was like, nah. But
the one thing I will say about the movie that I did enjoy, I agree with Sean, is I loved Cheetah. Kristen Wiig was great. But I just feel like, once again, it all comes down to the writing. Like, her origin was shit. Like, they should have made Maxwell Lord a side character. Mm-hmm. Like, I went in depth in my review about that. I think that was also an issue with the movie, that, like, the movie overhyped the gold suit and Cheetah so much, where all we got was 2 minutes of that.
That's true. That's true. Because honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I still don't see the point of the gold suit. And I thought it was cool to see Linda Carter, but I didn't really care.
I think that's the only reson they brought out the gold suit, because I think Patty Jenkins wanted, and before I kept calling her Patty Duke, I think she wanted to bring Linda Carter in some capacity, but I'm kind of curious because I'm not sure if Linda Carter wanted to come back in some capacity to this movie, and I think they found. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I don't.
Well,
think
they've been trying to get her since Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah,
she said she would come back for it any time, but they didn't have nothing for her to fit into Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah, and I think she just put this in there just to say, I got something for you, and we'll do it. And I think that was probably one of the cutest things that I've seen throughout the movie. I think that was a great
that was
tribute.
The best part of the movie.
Yeah, I would believe it or not. My mom, of all people who has no knowledge of comics, was just like, you know, it would have been cool if they just brought her back as her older Wonder Woman from her show. I was like, oh, Mom, you're talking multiverse now. But yeah, that would have been something pretty cool to see.
and I'll be honest, like, I will say, you know, Linda Carter got some good genes because she didn't age like spoiled milk. She actually looked. I mean, she looks older. She's
like
age.
Pam Grier, man.
Yeah,
just like,
and she just, you know, like, you're like, damn, because a friend of mine put up a picture of Linda Carter when she was I think in her 20s or early 30s, and compared to now, and I was like, damn, Linda, you was fun as hell. Like, you know, shoot, like, you know, and it's like, wow, you really embodied Wonder Woman. But I think it was a good thing. So you want me to give my review of it?
It's not nearly done? Or there's more?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, mostly it was like the unanswered questions, the like major inconsistencies and plot holes. Like, I was super upset with the Apex Predator transition. But yeah, most of that.
I mean, that kind of did come a little left field to how they. I mean, I'm with Jarrell. I wish they did the Cheetah origin for me instead of making her.
The movie should have been based in Africa.
Yeah, I think they should. I think they really should have did the Cheetah proper origin because, like I said, once again, now you kind of like you said, there's a way out.
Yeah, they can salvage it.
Yeah, they can salvage it, but you still wrote yourself into a corner. It's just like now we know she got her powers from a wish. It's just like she wished this. I love the Cheetah character in the beginning. I mean, not in the beginning, towards the end, especially when she was whipping that dude's ass. That was just like, and then the bum was just like, the homeless man was just like, yo, you okay? Mind your business. I
was kind of laughing. I was like, oh, she kicked his chicklets out.
She was like, mind your business.
But Sean, what are your thoughts?
I think we had this discussion earlier. I didn't think the movie was trash. I think calling the movie trash, it does it a disservice because it's not a trash movie. It actually is, I will say for me, the first 40 minutes was actually a good, it was a good rule. And it's, what do you call it? It's not a terrible movie, but it was something that I was like, okay, I didn't need 2 hours and 30 minutes of it. And I think that it's one of those things where here's what I did like. Opening scene, Amazon thing. The opening scene where she's in the mall fight, you know, where she's showing up all over the place
sneaking
and
around,
she's helping people. Although I think the car thing where the car almost hit the girl, I was like, all right, this is bullshit. Because you kicked the car out of the way, which means you could have ended up kicking the car into something else that caused a worse accident. Yeah. So I think I was like, but it was cute. I did like a lot of the 80s references when it led up to that. I did like.
Where was the Jerry girl though?
Yeah, they were missing a lot of 80s
yeah,
stuff.
You know,
it's the 80s. We need to see. Well, there was one?
They were in DC.
So there was no people with Jerry curls in DC?
I guess not.
I mean, the Jerry curls a big part of the 80s.
I'm going to be honest with you. There's a part of that I didn't agree with. Like the appropriation of breakdancing where
I peeped that too.
Yeah.
I was like, white people.
like all right, I'm glad you said it. I was like, I was
She threw token black people in.
yeah, I was like, first of all, breakdancing even at that point was more of a New York thing.
Yeah.
Before it went anywhere else. Even by 1984, it was still more of a New York thing. So like,
It was funny when Steve jumped though.
Yeah.
Like when the dude did the head spin and Steve jumped back, that shit was funny.
I mean, it was nice, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying that.
There's certain 80s things I was expecting, like I didn't see. I was just like, I was like, wait a minute, it's been DC. It was just like, I don't see one Jerry curl. Like my mom brought this up. She was just like, I don't see one Jerry curl in this whole movie. I was like, right?
You know, so when it comes to that, I was just like, okay, what it lost me in the movie was the entire thing we've all said. The Wishmaster thing really lost me when it came down to that, because I kind of felt like you took somebody watched the Wishmaster late at night while they were thinking of the Wonder Woman script, and it was just like, this will work.
That would be Patty Jenkins.
You know, like this will work. Which leads, I don't know if she did, because you can't tell me somebody.
Well, she wrote the script, I think.
But
right?
but you can't tell me somebody wrote a really good first Wonder Woman movie and then just got lazy the second one. Like,
I heard she fired, like took more creative direction with this one and let go a lot of people that worked on the first film.
This is what usually happens when you have
they got to bring them back.
When you have directors have more power than you know.
So when it comes to that part of it, I was kind of like slightly disappointed. But you know, like I remember this is going back to our Taco Bell argument, like with Jarrell. I wasn't disappointed with the movie, but what did disappoint me about the movie is that I give DC a lot of shit about the stuff that they do. You know, like even though I'm a pro Marvel fan, it does hurt me when DC doesn't live up to that, because DC is like, both of them are great movies, great franchises, and when you don't live up to the hype of their best superheroes, like, you know, Marvel's big three is Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. DC's big three is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. When you don't let those three characters live up to the shine that the respect that they should have, it bothers me.
Yeah.
You know,
just to correct myself, the screenplay writers are Patty Jenkins, and I'm really, really shocked about this because he should know better. Jeff Johns.
Yeah, Jeff Johns.
Yeah, and see, you telling me that pisses me off even more because Jeff Johns, I defend everything Jeff Johns. Like, I know Jarrell is like, yo, you don't defend anything DC does. I defend Jeff Johns at every corner that he, and my phone is already acting up like it is. Yep, see, you know what I'm saying? The fucking AI right now is like, oh, he loves Jeff Johns. Let's talk about Jeff Johns. Like, you know, like, no, like, I defend everything he's done ever since he rewrote Green Lantern, and the whole Green Lantern series that he brought it back into the forefront, and we got Blackest Night and everything else.
Day.
I have been on his side. Like, to me, Jeff Johns can do no wrong, you know, and for him to do that with Wonder Woman
and the Green Lantern movie,
yeah, you have a chance to bring this character. Like, she did a great job in the first one. It's the same thing as if somebody does an Aquaman 2 and fucks that up, I'm going to walk away from DC completely, because these are two movies where I think both franchises really live more on their side characters than they do on their mains. Because just like Marvel, Ant-Man was good. Thor was Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one was good.
Are you talking about Thor 1 or Thor Ragnarok?
Thor Ragnarok was phenomenal.
That shit was phenomenal.
Like, Thor Ragnarok was.
I'm not even going to use the T word. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Thor 1 and 2 were all right, but Thor Ragnarok, if they did not have Jeff Goldblum in it, that movie I'd have been like,
I love Jeff Goldblum.
What have been watching?
You don't like the Goldblum?
Thor 1 was the superior film.
Nah, Thor 1 was just boring. Thor 1 was good, but it was boring. That was my take of Thor 1. Thor 1 was good, but it was boring.
There's a difference in tone in that thing too.
Like,
Because Thor 1 was not.
Herman and what's her face, the two girls, they were cringe.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this,
Darcy.
You remind me of Kurt. You guys like
Henning?
comic book? No, Kurt. No, I do very good.
My bad.
You guys remind me of. You guys remind me of that. You guys are not comic book readers because no comic book is as dark as Schneider and everybody else makes it. Like, don't get me wrong, there are dark points in a comic book where you're just like, wow. But they make their movie so like there's a point when I watch some of Snyder's movies where I'm like, yo, man, like if I don't go do something happy, I might just go stand on a roof and contemplate jumping off because it depresses the hell out of you. And
that's why they gave you Shazam.
Like, but these are like, stop making comic books aren't dark, desolate, depressing goth movies where you sit down and think life is bad, everything is bad. I don't want
but everything's not bright colors, rainbows, and jokes either.
For the most part, comic books were.
And animated movies do a good job.
Yeah, they do a good job at balancing that. Mm-hmm. Like I watch
like funny and dark.
Nah, everything's always dark.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
Justice League Apocalypse. Yeah. Dark, terrible ending. Phenomenal movie. No, meaning when I say terrible ending, I don't mean terrible ending like the movie was bad.
Just the outcome. The
outcome of the entire movie, like terrible for everybody. Like nobody went home that day feeling love and joy with each other and hugging each other, going, raising their hands. They did it. Everybody went home needing a therapist and having PSD at the end.
Goodness for the Flash.
Yeah, but.
See, that's why I like Infinity War, because I'm just like, thank God y'all finally lost.
No. But you know what I'm saying? But great movie. No, from beginning to end, great movie. Why does Infinity War work? Because listen, even at the Infinity Wars, even at the end of Endgame, yeah, we won, but at what cost? But when it comes to Schneider's movies, it's just like, it's depressing from the opening start to the end, and I really don't see any heroism.
Only one
I just see like
hold on, to count on you real quick, not to cut you off. Only one that's depressing from start to finish is Batman v Superman. Man of Steel is not depressing from start, and he does end on a light note with him at least smiling at the Daily Planet.
And I do like Man of Steel, which most people hate, but I don't like my comic book stories like Daredevil. Daredevil is dark, but I get with like Daredevil.
It has to be.
It doesn't have to be because Daredevil isn't all the way dark comic, but I like it because like it just explores different sides of him. But that's beside. We'll get into. We'll make a podcast about like darks and everything else. But when it comes to Wonder Woman, I like it. I had hope for this movie. I wasn't thoroughly disappointed in it, but I wasn't happy with it either. Like I wasn't like, oh my God. Like when I first saw it, I was just like, what the fuck? Like I was like, what did I just watch? Like, and if it wasn't for Justin telling me it was 2.5 hours long. That means I spent 2.5 hours trying to figure out what I was watching. And it was just like, okay, this is good. Was definitely not happy with Maxwell Lord. Was in love with Kristen Wiig's Cheetah. Just wanted to see more of her. Was not disappointed in Gal Gadot. I think she just did her. Yeah, she just did her thing. And wasn't disappointed in her fight scenes. No. I just think that if you had taken out Maxwell Lord, the movie would have probably been 45 minutes less, but would have been outstanding. Like, because even at the end don't get me wrong, I think in one of our podcasts we talked about we didn't want to see terrible CGI with Kristen Wiig. Yeah. And I don't think it was terrible CGI. But I think Patty Jenkins
saw cats?
No. Yep. No, she didn't see cats. I think she went too far with the 80s look with the big hair because when she came out with the big hair, I was just like, okay, I can let it go because if she appears in a more updated movie, I'm pretty sure they're going to change her hair look. But I was like, this big hair metal look, this is only going to work for this movie.
In 1984.
This is only going to work for this movie. If she returns with that, I'm like, something wrong with you.
But are they going to explain Cheetah's age? Like, I mean, if we're putting it in modern times in the next movie, it'll be probably
She
2022.
made the wish.
Yeah, but the thing is, she made the wish, and if she's anything like
Diana,
Diana,
she's not going to age.
She's not going to age.
Oh,
like
okay.
that, you know.
Thank you for clearing that up.
So,
because I was worried, it was like, so we're gonna get an older grizzly looking cheetah.
we're gonna get cheetah. So those were probably the best parts of it. But I have to agree with everybody else. When people are getting like, I remember reading a review where somebody said something, and this wasn't Nadia's review, where somebody said something like, "Oh, if you don't like Wonder Woman, it's because you don't know movies and you don't know anything about DC. You're probably a Marvel fan who's a hater." Yeah, like I feel that you're the problem I have with DC fans. You're the biggest problem I have with DC fans.
You're the problem I have with all fans.
Yes, like
I was like, they probably never read a book in their life.
yeah, like
what are you talking about?
one of the biggest pet
Shields.
one of the biggest pet peeves I have is for if you've never picked up a comic book and read it, and you've never read that character, you have no standing with me, because we're talking about somebody who spent a good part of his teenage years reading these comic books, getting invested in these characters, being happy to see them on the big screen. And don't get me wrong, Jarrell, I have blasted Marvel for, like, first of all, I blasted them for X-Men 1. And I think I told Justin that I blasted them for X-Men 1. I
thought it was a decent movie.
Like, I blasted Marvel for Thor. Like I said, Thor 1 I thought was good, but it was just boring to me. Thor 2 was just like,
Darcy's insufferable.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's
like,
going to be in Loki. Another reason why I'm watching it.
Yeah, and I was like, that's terrible. I've blasted the first Incredible Hulk, the Ang Lee version. Like, I think Robot Chicken did a great explanation about Ang Lee's Hulk. Like, oh, I want to make Hulk pretty butterfly. And like, I think they did a phenomenal job getting on them for that. But it's like, if you're gonna do these characters, do them right. Don't give me shit. Like,
hold on to that though for later.
Yeah, don't give me shit with that. But that because I want Jarrell to get to his point. I don't think Wonder Woman was terrible. I don't think it was trash. I don't think people should jump on it the way they have been jumping on it, but I don't think it was as good as they think it could have been. And I think cut Maxwell Lord out, and that's 45 minutes of the movie. Better movie. I think we would have a different opinion of this movie going forward.
Get the Wish out. Yeah. Get Max out. Keep Cheetah. You could put Max in like I don't know, like a B level tier villain. Yeah. Like, and you would have had something there. Like Jarrell,
like the Wonder Woman fans attacking me.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, I will talk the same shit about Batman. I will talk the same shit about Batman. If it is not good, it's not good.
Yeah. And I think who was it? Nadia brought up something in her review of something. We have to stop letting influencers watch the movies. Yeah. And let press watch it, because I think one of the
honest press too.
I think we'll get into that. I think one of the biggest problems with press, and Jarrell, I don't see you as an influencer. I see you as a filmmaker who watches movies, and you have your vision of how you want movies to go. So when you give your opinion, I value your opinion. Then the girl who sits there with her tits out going, "Oh my God, I really love Wonder Woman," and because they'll say anything to get that kind of what do you call it? That kind of to be able to get into another movie. They'll sit down at, like, we try to shine the turd every once in a while. They will do it just so they can get into the next one and the next one and be able to say, "Well, I'm here. I get to go see this and I get to go see that." No. If start letting press watch it, you'll get more of an honest opinion, and you'll know where to change your mistakes for the next one.
Hold on to your review real quick. I'm just going to address this because I know I'm not going to have time to cover what he just brought up, and I'm just going to address these journalist shields out there that is literally attacking fans and attacking people who did not have a different opinion on franchises and different. You know, if someone doesn't like the movie, doesn't make them a sexist, doesn't make them misogynist, because I keep seeing these words being thrown around. Oh, if you didn't like the Wonder Woman movie, oh, you're a misogynist, you're a far right troll, you're this and that. First of all, let me just open up the Pandora's box a little bit to let people know what goes on the press side of things, and let you in on a little secret real quick before Jarrell gets his review, and then I get fully into my rant. But this is just a little taste. what happens with a lot of these influencers, YouTubers, IG, and even some press outlets is this. These people get the early access, and what they do is they basically lie to you. They do lie to you. They lie to you because if they give a bad review sometimes, and I won't tell you what company did this to us, we got a review, we got a movie from one of the major companies, and I trashed it. I didn't like it. I gave my points, it pointed out the flaws. Never heard from them again. Kind of blacklisted. We don't get access to them anymore. So some journalists and some influencers get afraid that they're going to lose that access. Yeah. So what they do is basically, as Sean says, they shine the turd. And even if they don't like it, an example of that would be how IGN did 2 Cyberpunk reviews. The first Cyberpunk review got rave reviews and everything else like that. They labeled it PC. And then when all the backlash happened with the PS4 and Xbox One, then you saw an IGN PS4 Xbox review, which wasn't as rave and things like that. I'm not accusing IGN of, shining the turd or not over or putting things under the water, things like that. I'm just saying that these things happen, is that a lot of these outlets and influencers are afraid to tell the truth because they're afraid they might lose access. That's all. But go ahead, Jarrell, with your review.
Yeah, I'm a little different with it because I waited 5 days to actually make my review and post it. Mm-hmm. And before that was mostly because after I watched it. It was Christmas Day. I watched it. I enjoyed what I watched on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. I did not come out and say this was the greatest film of all time. I didn't say this film completely sucked. Based on what I saw on Christmas Day, I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Then I started going on, social media platforms and everything. And it's not like people were just like, hey, here's my Wonder Woman review. It was like Wonder Woman 84, the worst film of all time. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
And then it's
that's bullshit.
And it gets to a point where it's just like people, it's like clickbait. Because it seems like there's this underlined thing where it's popular to hate DC movies. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just jumped on, just jumped on the hate bandwagon just to get likes and to get views and get clicks. Mm-hmm. So it's like now, and that's like I'm confused because I'm just like, all right, I can see why. Because the thing is like Nadia, for instance, when I read your review on IG, I laughed when I read it because the thing with you is I know for a fact that you didn't say you didn't like it just to say you didn't like it. You actually came up with reasons and you came up with logic. And even if I don't agree with what you're saying, I understand why you felt that way. That's why when I put the review, it was funny. It was funny to me. It was funny to me. That's why I'm like, but people, and the problem is people, they attack someone based on their opinion. And people have this bad habit of, there's the story that everyone has in their mind because we all know what we want to see, but we're not the ones making the film. So if the people who are making the film make the film, you have to ask yourself, if I'm a person who didn't like this, do I hate this because it's not what I personally wanted to see, but what they did was actually okay, or did what they do actually really was bad? And a lot of people can't separate that difference. That's a good point. I hated The Last Jedi.
So did I.
But I hated The Last Jedi not because when leading up to The Last Jedi, I could have gave you 50 million things that I wanted to see. Yeah, of course. There was a bunch of things I wanted to see. I didn't hate The Last Jedi because they didn't do anything I wanted to see. I hated it because The Force Awakens threw an alley-oop, and then The Last Jedi refused to dunk the ball. Yeah.
in the first 10 minutes, he got the lightsaber, and he tossed it. Immediately after that, you killed the film.
Yeah, Mark Hamill himself said on the red carpet, he was just like, yo, if you're a fan of Star Wars,
see this movie.
Yeah, he was like, this probably isn't the movie for you. But and that's the thing, because for Wonder Woman 2...
Thank you, Mandalorian.
For Wonder Woman 2, I know what I wanted to see with Wonder Woman 2. And when the film started, I was like, okay, so like you said, we're doing the wish thing. I get that. This isn't what I would have liked to have seen. Yeah. But then I had to stop and say to myself, do I like what they gave me? And I'm just like, there were things about it that I didn't like, but overall I enjoyed what they gave me. My good and bad is actually the same thing. The best thing about the movie was Cheetah, And the thing that pissed me off about the movie was Cheetah for the simple fact, and I'll even do something different than the rest you said, because obviously we all wanted to see more Cheetah, not just her popping up, at the last 10 minutes of the film. But I wanted more Barbara Minerva. Yeah. Not the sexy I got my powers Barbara Minerva. I like nerd Barbara Minerva. Yeah. And it bothered me that we only got to see her be a loser for 24 hours. It's like she came into the screen, she was a loser. She made the wish in the same day, and then the very next day, now she's the new hot chick on the block. And I was like, I would have liked to have seen her.
I agree with that completely. I wanted more of an arc where you see her go from loser,
exactly,
winning, and then
because a lot of people
and more than just putting on heels.
True.
Yes. That's it. But a lot of people are like, oh, give us more Cheetah. I'm like, well, shit. Can we get more Barbara Minerva?
Can we learn who she is first? That way the term actually works.
Yeah, but that was the first thing. I was just like, well, I don't agree with that one. We already talked about like the invisible jet thing. Like the whole thing with the invisible jet was just like, I hate how she did it, but then there was the kid of me that was like, she's in the invisible jet. Shut up.
Yeah, me too.
It's like just shut up and take it. The part where she was actually saying goodbye, like it was like this wasn't like it's a superhero film. It's it wasn't really so much of an action film. It was a heartwarming film. Because the scene where she had to break away from Steve, like that shit sucked. Like that hurt. Like when she was just like, I'll never love again. I was like, why you? I was like, damn. I ain't come here for all this emotion. Like
I'll never love again until that Batman comes around, and then
that's like 30 years later.
It's Superman. Come on.
True. It's so funny because my mom was just like, oh,
wait,
man.
and Aquaman.
I mean that too. Damn. They are going Flashpoint route. So I mean, she might go Jason Momoa.
Now you just made her mad loose. She waited 30 years and then went off.
No, but even like, and then at the end with the Cheetah thing, like the fight that her and Cheetah had, I thought it was cool for what it was. I agree. There was no point to have the armor. The whole point of the armor was just to bring in,
Linda Carter.
Yeah, just to bring in Linda Carter. There was no point for the armor. Honestly, the movie didn't even have to take place in 1984.
It really didn't.
It could have took place in it.
It really didn't.
Yeah, it could have happened at any time, but for the heartwarming aspect of it, for the 5 action sequences that we got, like I did enjoy it. When she gave the Supergirl speech at the end, when she was talking to everybody, when she was just like, "Oh, we all want things. We want people back that we love." I'm not gonna lie to you, that shit hurt. Like that speech hurt me on a personal level because everybody can identify with that. Like if you make a wish for something that you, and so it's like and this is why I'm probably like, I enjoyed the film because I enjoyed it on an emotional level. It wasn't like, oh, where was the sword? Where was the action? Why she ain't cutting bitches' throats? So it was, it's like y'all gave me a heartwarming film on Christmas.
Like I said, it was a character study of Diana.
Yeah, and
which is not, you're not in character studies, folks. You're not going to get that much action.
No, but the action that let's say, but I didn't have a problem with the action that we got because I understand she went from the war. She went from Themyscira to the war. And she's trying to like not be because Wonder Woman's the hopeful person. She's the one that inspires hope in her. Yeah. She was trying to dial it back. She didn't want to be out there with the sword and shield. So I gave her a pass. But I'm like, when it came to the Cheetah fight, I was like, I'm fine with you saving cars, kissing babies, using your lasso for defense. Yeah. When you fought Cheetah, I was like, you supposed to bust that ass. Like you electrocuted her because you wanted to save her. You supposed to bust that ass.
which that's another thing I just had a slight problem with. If she's anything like Diana, the water electrocuted both of them. Why did she pass out? And Diana was just like
Diana had the armor on.
Yeah, did she have the armor on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Diana had the armor.
Good point.
Because you saw when Wonder Woman tried to do the W symbol, Cheetah flew right through that shit. She bust right through and then buzzed. But I did like that though, like because Diana paid the price for playing defense. She was trying to save all those Secret Service and she was trying to help people. And then Kristen Wiig came in and she bust that ass. And then it was nice to see her bleeding, see her with the black eye, to see her like giving up. It was nice for her to be like, "Yo, I save people every single day without asking for a thank you. Why can't I have this one thing?" And I'm like, because we don't always get what we want. Facts. So from like I said, from a heartwarming, I understand people who make valid points and they're just not like, oh, this shit sucked because it's DC. Like people who actually make valid points, I understand those points, and I agree with a lot of those points. But I can't sit here and be like, I hated what I saw
because it's DC. Like, no, there's literally people out there. I kid you not, that I saw online. They were just like, man, everything DC does is trash. I'm just like,
I have to say, Jarrell, you actually brought up a review that DC should be proud of. No, and I'm not saying it to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
The DC should be proud of to put up and say it, because you didn't say anything like I've heard, like you said, most DC fans with, oh, is this and that. You brought up valid points about the movie that we can all agree with, not just because we can all agree, but because it was true. Like I said, the movie was not terrible. It just was not what I thought it should have been. And like I said, the first 40 minutes, I sat, and we're sitting in a place where I watched it on the big screen. I was sitting there with popcorn, and he was like, I'm ready. Like, you know, and I watched it. And then when I saw the whole thing with the mascara and everything else, I was just like, wow, this is, I'm in for a treat. And then it just fell off after that.
For you.
Yeah, like it just
it dipped in a lot of moments.
but so a lot of it, so it worked for you.
Yeah, no,
Overall,
like I said,
yeah.
it wasn't what I thought I was gonna get. It wasn't what I would have chosen, but the direction that they went in worked for me more than it didn't.
So one more question, you know, as a filmmaker yourself, what would you cut out?
Like I said, if it was me, I would have focused more on the relationship between Barbara and Diana. You know, like I said, with Barbara being a loser a little bit longer, looking up to Diana, wishing she could be like Diana. I would have definitely went the route of her doing the animal experiments, and then, you know, like having someone like her, like use Maxwell Lord as a guy where Barbara's trying to get the funding to do her, you know, her animal research projects. Yeah. Let Maxwell Lord promise her the money and then shit on her, and then she gets mad and then does the experiments on herself, you know, or something like that. Like I would have used Maxwell Lord as more like a douchebag that pops in, does some douchebag shit, and then pops out. Like I wouldn't have made him the focus,
like a catalyst from time to time.
Yeah. You know, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have brought Steve back at all.
Yeah, I
would not have brought Steve. I would have just let that one go.
Because you would have wrote yourself into a corner.
Yeah, I would have honestly just let that go. It would have, like, for me, it would have been a story of Diana Prince and Barbara Minerva, and then watching Barbara's aspiration for her turn into like jealousy towards the end. Like maybe there's a scene where she actually finds out that Diana's Wonder Woman, and now she's getting jealous because she's just like, oh, now I see why all the men like you, why you get everything that you want and I don't get shit.
Hashtag Jarrell's Wonder Woman.
I mean,
that's character development.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds fucking good. Seriously.
That's what I would. I mean, and then you were talking about a Wonder Woman 3. Here's what I would do for a Wonder Woman 3. I would bring in Nubia. I would have a situation where Nubia comes in and takes over Themyscira. And then somebody leaves the island, they go to Diana, they're just like, oh, you know, Nubia took over. And then Diana, because they already introduced the Justice League, right? Yep. So Diana, she's talking to Superman, Aquaman, Bruce and them, and then she's just like, oh, Themyscira is in trouble. They're just like, oh, we'll help you. And she's like, no, you can't.
My planet needs me.
Yeah, and then Diana's like, you guys can't come with me because men aren't allowed on the island. So then what happens is, since they can't go with her, Aquaman says, well, you can take Mira. You know, Batman's like, hey, I'll send Batgirl to go with you.
That's how
you know,
Batgirl.
Go get the Birds of Prey since you gave them a film. And what I would, and because he said not them, but I mean, but you already introduced them, so it's like why not use them? You know, true. and then if you want to throw a curveball in there, do a situation where the Birds of Prey have locked up Harley Quinn. And then Wonder Woman shows up to ask them to recruit them, but because Harley's with them, she ends up taking Harley with her, and then Harley Quinn's on Themyscira too, because that would add like the, you know,
unpredictable.
Yeah, the unpredictable, like, because that'd be funny. Like to see Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn interact to me would just be funny as shit, because they're two completely different people. But that's what I would do personally. But
that does not sound like a bad idea.
No,
that sounds like a good movie.
It's not forced feminism.
Yeah,
no,
she can't. It's like there's
like a fun chick flick.
It's organic.
Yeah, it's organic because she can't. Because for people like, oh, why can't you bring Batman? You cannot bring dudes to Themyscira. So she has to.
Well, remember they did. They had Steve there, and they were trying to get his ass off the island.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But for her to make a conscious decision to, and then this would open doors for
Bruce be a dick, but Steve was on the island.
Yeah. Yo, you're right. Yeah. Well, Steve was there.
Yeah,
Well, you talk about the man that laid the pipe can go, but I can't. But nobody else can.
Yeah, because you said that they're trying to do a Batgirl.
Yeah.
They were talking about doing a movie. Like, that's how you bring those people in.
And that's exactly what
Like,
we're going to get into with my rant, which is perfect transition. What Jarrell just described there, folks, is character development, story structure, plot, theme, and organic representation diversity.
Snap.
Unlike what I'm about to read now.
Go ahead.
So
for everybody who
this is I got this. Hold on. Oh yeah, you want to do the
Trigger.
gunshot? But before Sean does the gunshot, if this is the part where you might be triggered. So for those who are, 1 second.
There's only one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for you. S-A-W-F-T.
Soft.
Thank you. So you folks out there, go ahead, Sean, when you're ready.
That's not how you spell soft, by the way.
Yeah, that's not kids. SOFT. We just did that because we love wrestling. Okay. But recently, while Sean's looking for the gunshot, recently DC announced another graphic novel, YA. That's not I'm Not Starfire, which we talked about on the last show. Yeah. This time we have Green Lantern, a Green Lantern graphic novel. Jarrell, you don't know the synopsis, but they're using the new Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz, who's Latino, right? And is written by a Latino woman. Sean, you ready?
Well, as Justin said, for those of you who are not ready for it, who are not going into
the trigger section. So,
we are ready, prepared to be triggered.
Okay, so, and this is, I'm just touching on this part first because I got a lot to get off my chest, but I'm going to keep it short. So we're not going like another hour. So this is the synopsis of the new Green Lantern graphic novel, YA. Jessica Cruz has done everything right. She's a dedicated student, popular among her classmates, and has a loving family that has done everything they can to give her a better life in the United States. Keep in mind, she's Latino. Keep going. While Jessica is part of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, allowing her to go to school and live in the U.S., why the Latino gotta be immigrant? Her parents are undocumented, because she's Latino, I guess. Jessica usually worries for her parents, but her fears and anxiety escalate as a mayor candidate with a strong anti-immigration stance runs for office. Then no mayors have immigration powers. But okay, anyway, as the
2016, well, yeah, they do.
They do? Okay.
You have powers of your state. So.
Okay, as the xenophobia in Coast City increases, Jessica begins to debate whether it's worth renewing her status to stay in the U.S. Keep in mind, she's a Green Lantern, and they're supposed to worry about space and sectors. Okay, or if her family would be safer and be better off moving back to Mexico. Let the Mexican move back to Mexico. Anyway, and despite her attempts to lean on her friends and family, she finds herself constantly visited by visitors of Aztec gods. Green Lantern Aztec gods. On pulling her towards hope in the other towards anger. But when her father is detained by ICE, ICE, yes.
You mean her poppy?
Yes. Jessica finds herself being pulled into an abyss of fear. So that means she's going to become a yellow, she's going to join the Sinestro Corps to save her pops. I mean, that would be a good twist. But anyway,
true.
With her father gone and feeling helpless, so Ice took her pops. Sorry.
You should have said it like she took her Faja.
Jessica must find her way out of her fears and ultimately become a voice for her community. And this, my friends.
Wait, hold on. She's still the Green Lantern?
She's still a Green Lantern.
Oh, wow.
This is a reimagining of of one of the greatest Green Lanterns.
I'm saying, but when Isis run up on her daddy, does she have the ring or does she not have the ring yet?
We don't know. The book hasn't come out. This is just the synopsis they sent.
First of all, I want to first start with saying she does not, and I repeat, in my rock voice, does not have the mantle at all of greatest Green Lantern. There are two Green Lanterns that stand out among all of them. There is Hal Jordan, the OG,
And Kyle.
And Kyle Renner.
John,
which is,
we weren't gonna say Jon Stewart.
no, but the thing is, like, here's the thing: when you say top 5 dead or alive,
Oh shit!
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
when you say top 5 dead or alive, you're talking about Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Jon Stewart, and what's his name?
Guy Gardner?
Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
Okay, now number 5, you could go into Kilowog. You can mix it up. You can even say Sinestro.
Tomoe or Sinestro. Yeah.
Sinestro. You can go in there. But if we talking top 5 dead or alive, yeah.
So-
If we're talking about going for number 1 and number 2, I would bring Kyle Rayner and Hal Jordan. Not that Jon Stewart is a slouch for anything, because we have to remember Jon Stewart carried the Justice League, made that very popular with the Justice League series.
And in Apocalypse, he was the last Green Lantern standing.
Yep.
And they did him dirty as fuck.
Yep. And the thing is, they're like, if you're telling me top 3, we're going to go those 3 top 3.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Nadia as what are your thoughts as a Latino person of this synopsis I just read?
I mean, it's so forced. It's annoying as hell. Like, why can't she just be a Latin from Brooklyn? Like, why can't she? You know what I mean? Like, why can't her
They
parents
even
be born
darken
here
her
too?
skin.
Because she would be eating bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning and chopped cheese at night. That's how she
For
can't-
real? Like,
That's how she
why?
can't.
Why? I just feel like it's like a lazy trope. Like,
Yeah,
I just feel like that's how everyone
That's
looks
not
for diversity
that's
now.
not every
like, to
Latin
check
person.
off-
And this is written by a Latin person, by the way, folks. So if you want to know of a white person, for anyone who's going to be extra tricky, like, oh, of course, a white person probably will. No. The author is Latino, and this is the story that they want to go with. So,
Are you offended by that?
no.
No, not you. I'm talking Nadia. Like as a Latino woman, like does that story, like, do you feel kind of offended by it, or are you just like, oh, whatever?
Or you're just annoyed that, all right, enough. Every time
I think
that's
annoyed more. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there are people that go through that, but I'm just like, I don't know. For comics, it just, and then she already has like a story.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
I
thing.
don't know. Just the whole
And, well, DC
movement right now, it just feels very forced. It doesn't feel natural.
And-
It feels like we're just going to hire you because you're Hispanic. We're just going to use your character because you're Hispanic. And we're going to make you gay. And we're going to make you emo. And we're going to make you have one leg. And we're going to make you...
She said one leg.
we're going to make you
asexual
trans.
or
We're going to
what-
make you...
like trans.
and-
Yeah, I
and
just feel like it's all a checklist now, and
and-
it doesn't feel natural at all.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because this is what has been. And for those who don't know, I'm going to open your eyes to something that I've been keeping watch for, like, I think it's been going on for like 4 or 5 years. Yeah, it's something called Comicsgate, which is big on Twitter, big on the YouTube community, things like that. And I'm not a political person, so I'm neither right or left. I'm not getting into any of that stuff either. But what Comicsgate was that, I guess, when I think it really started with the all new Marvel, when they started switching and race swapping characters out. And I guess the original fans of these characters were, not saying bitching, but they were just, very vocal about it. Just like, yo, why can't y'all just make new characters? And then we got into the other side talking about, you guys are racist, this homosexual, homophobic, and anything else like that, transphobic. You don't want these people to have representation of voices and things like that. And this is what we're still seeing to this day. And like Nadia said, it feels forced now. It's at this point now, like, they just announced that Star-Lord is bisexual. And in the comics,
Oh, I was about to say this.
and yeah, they announced that Star-Lord is bisexual in the comics, and then you see all these clickbait articles of how is Chris Pratt going to deal with this, with his Christian beliefs of Star-Lord being bisexual? What does this mean for the next Guardians movie? And it's just like,
Because people just need to click for money. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
For the record, you can be Christian and not care if someone's bisexual.
and that, exactly, and that's the point.
like me, for example.
Exactly, same here, same here.
Here's the biggest problem I have with everything, and this is probably going to trigger a lot of people, and hopefully this doesn't get anything canceled. As a black man, and I was bringing that up with Jarrell from before, where I wasn't, I'm not hitting on him. I think there was something in a comic book. I'm not going to say in a comic book. There's been comic book sayings all the time. 2 of them actually. Like, if you live long enough as the hero, that you end up becoming a villain. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things is I remember I was in college. I did a piece on heroes and villains, and you have to look at it as a perspective of people who are considered heroes are heroes because they're doing what majority of people want them to do. And the villains are considered villains because they're trying to stop them. Well, what do you think happens to people who believe in the villains, and they think they're stopping them? But that's just leading up to what I'm saying is when people have been oppressed for a lot. Being a black man, we've lived in this world. Let's not pretend that black, brown, and I don't like when people say black and brown. Black, Latino, Asian, Indian, Muslim. Take your pick of someone who is not like the status quo and know that they've been oppressed. And that goes for different races that people want to say are white. Irish, Italian.
Everybody's been through it.
Everybody, just to put this in perspective, almost every race on this planet has been in slavery in some way or another. It's just that, like I like to tell people, it seems that most minorities don't get a chance to get out of it, or get a chance to leave it behind. I do like where we've gone over the years as far as racism tolerance. Not saying I love it. I'm just saying I like the strides that we're making to turn it over.
It's no longer a private conversation.
Yeah, it's now out there. But what I don't like is that
pandering.
Besides the pandering, we end up becoming the thing that we're fighting against. Mm-hmm. When we're too pro-black, we're becoming the thing, because we have to remember, we as black people fought for equality, not superiority.
Exactly.
We fought to be equal and to be seen as when we stand out, we stand out. When we don't, we don't. But we want the same rights as everybody else in there, which is why people don't understand when black people get proud, when we have pride, when we see somebody like, what's his name? Key and Peele.
Yeah.
When we see a black man make a successful horror film, when you see a movie like Black Panther where it was a successful majority black film, when you see a tennis player, a golf player, any other sport, I mean, I'm telling you now, I'm waiting to see the first all-star GOAT of hockey. be a black man in there. Not because I just want to take that sport away, but I just want to see because as a black man, we ain't getting on ice skating around, and you're not telling us we can fight in the middle of.
I'll do it for a first date.
Although I will say though, Sean, the NHL wouldn't be what it is without the Negro League.
True,
that's true.
NHL posted that themselves.
Yeah, and it's you want to see things like that, not because I want to see black people take over. I want to see people get lifted and get inspired, and kids to feel like they're not. I mean, I'm just saying I don't want to make this I have a dream speech, but as a kid, we didn't, we were told, I don't want to show my age, you could be anything but president. Yeah. And what happened? Yeah. And that's why I don't get mad if anybody, whether they're Asian, Latino, whatever, say, I can't wait to see a Spanish president or a Chinese president or blah. When Kamala Harris became vice president, you have a poster of men, and you have one woman. Don't take that away from women who want to see it. That being said, that's the positive parts of what I want to see. Those are the strides I enjoy watching us make. All of us, not just everybody, make, to be able to say, don't ever say you can't because somebody else fought and did. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want this to be this has to be a black person in there because
now we're demanding.
I agree with what the Academy Award is doing, but change the Academy Award. Don't force them to say the only way your film is going to be considered is if you start checking off the things, because now we're not building stories. Now we're just doing check marks.
Yeah.
Don't show me that. Show me that somebody organically wants that to be in there. Don't make them check it off, because then it's not organic. Then it's just you can't make this movie unless you have these people on there. Yes. You want to make sure that You have representation even behind the scenes. But that's something you have to work with the companies to change. That does not have to be a checklist. You need to work with the companies to take that out of, well, we only hired this person and we only hired that person. You need to hire the best. So stop with it. And this is where I feel like everybody becomes the villain. Now we have to have somebody who's trans and somebody who's gay in a certain thing, because that community is going to, and I don't mean to say like that community, but that community is now going to get pissed because they have no representation. When you have great writers that are trans, gay, lesbian, who have great organic stories that don't just necessarily say, okay, I'm a lesbian or I'm gay or I'm trans and I'm going to push that. They wrote a great story and the character is lesbian, gay. That's good writing. But don't make somebody check that off because you have a few people
on Twitter. That's what you listen to. You listen to fucking Twitter.
Yeah, a few people in the community that feel they're woke. And I think all the communities need to get together and start telling people, shut up.
Oh, good thing, because I got an example for that too.
To come up and say shut up, because the thing is, don't pander to me just to give me something like, oh, we're going to make this character like, see, I made this character black, so now you're happy. No, I want you, I want you to make that character, if that character was written black, make him black. I'll give an example, like with Spawn. I wasn't pissed off because Terry was white in Spawn. I just wanted a good actor to play him. I wasn't pissed off because Jason Wynn was white. I think what's her name did a phenomenal job as Wynn.
Yeah.
Give me characters that can play it. Don't give me characters just because you're checking off. And I think what happens is you have, just like in every community, people who are activists, you have people who are out there fighting for the right thing and they're sensible. And then you have people who go so far over the top and they're the loudest. They say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. They're the loudest squeaky wheel, and everybody thinks that movement is that.
The majority. They think that the minority voice is actually the majority. And that problem is that it's ruining art itself. Look at Scarlett Johansson when she was cast to play a trans man, and they blasted her, oh, she's not trans, she can't play a trans character. It's acting. At the end of the day, yes, do they need to be more trans actors out there? Do they need to everybody should get the same audition and same right, but it's up to the company to decide maybe this person is fit for the role. If you're trying to tell me that only a black character can voice a black anime character or a black cartoon or everything else like that, you're not only pigeonholing that black actor and limiting them to a particular race, but what if I wanted to play Goku? Yeah. So you're trying to tell me I can't play Goku because Goku's not black? You're gonna give me Piccolo?
Yeah, it works. It works in the reverse way.
And the thing is, you don't. And a lot of things based off of money. We have to also realize things are based off money. Yeah. If Scarlett Johansson is hot right now and she brings it in, that's what people are gonna want. Don't get me wrong. What's the woman's name from Orange Is the New Black? The trans Laverne Cox. I think Laverne Cox is a phenomenal actress.
Yes.
And I think there are times where she can really pick, where a role like that would probably shine for her.
Yeah.
But what if she wasn't the right fit for that role? Here's a movie that most people will not remember. Does anybody remember The Crying Game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not just because of the twist.
Yeah. The actor that played the trans woman, did you know that was a man?
No, not until later on.
Not until the twist. Not to say a spoiler alert for it. Nobody knew. Could they have gotten a woman to play that role and just put a prosthetic on it? Put a prosthetic on her? And, it's not like the technology wasn't there. They could have put a prosthetic on her? Yes. But they found a man who fit the part, who looked and was great. Yeah. Okay? Because that movie's not remembered for what it is. It's remembered for the twist, but would that role have been played by better as a woman with a prosthetic? I don't know. It could have been. I just know that the person they picked to play that role right now, who was also in Stargate, right? who they picked to play that role, was great. Yeah.
So Supergirl did the same thing in season 4. They introduced Dreamer, and she was trans, and nobody cared. they had one episode in season 5 where people like hate groups were targeting the transgendered community, but it wasn't like 2 seasons of her being like, I'm trans, like nobody cared.
But that's how you're supposed to. That's my beef with these writers. Excuse me, they're not writers because they're literally hiring activists, and this is the problem I have. And not tooting ONG's horn or what everybody does here, but this is why manga is popular. My Hero Academia, and what is it, Demon Slayer sell 1 million copies each volume. Do you know why? Because they focus on story, characters, and like I was going to say is that yes, this graphic novel. I'm not picking on the author, or I'm just giving an example of what mainstream comics is missing today. Escapism. You're missing an important element of fictional work, which is escapism. Me personally, I'm not trying to read a comic book and get lectured on points on ICE and immigration, especially if it's a Green Lantern book. Well, I don't care if it's a young adult.
We already know it's messed up. Yeah. We already know that we're fighting hard to do it. But that even goes into a lot of things. What I was trying to bring the point up is like, don't give me. I want organic characters. Yes. I agree with certain groups. Was there a trans actor that could have played this?
Yes.
Possibly, but did that trans actor play it like the same way? I wouldn't want that actor to get the role just because they check the box as being trans.
Well, just because you're trans doesn't mean you're a good actor.
Yeah,
I mean exactly.
Check the box if you're a great actor. You know, like if you play that role, just like when people flipped out that they gave the role, and I don't. Anybody wants to look up the name later? The black girl who played Ariel. Where people flipped out, and I'm looking at people like, do you realize we're talking about a fictional character? Like it's like that's a mermaid. We're not talking about. And look, if you find a real mermaid, cool. Yeah. But like, the thing is, like, I don't think they would have the skin tone that most people think they would have because you're underwater. Let's think scientific. You're underwater and devoid of a lot of light.
Yeah, a lot of sun.
You would have more of a grayish look, to you. So they picked a girl who had the best voice, the best acting chops, and they made her Ariel. And I mean, there are a lot of things, and like I said, I'll save that for another podcast where I sometimes feel like when people cast black actors, they try to find the lightest black actor they can to appease people, and you shouldn't. You just pick an actor.
Because they want to go for the universal appeal.
Yeah, and I will tell people this. If you want to watch a good segment on something like that goes on in the black community, there's an episode of Survivor's Remorse where his cousin's wife is starting a company and she was hiring models, and it was a good argument when the model that she hired was light skinned compared to the dark skinned actor that she model that she wanted, and it was a good confrontation with that, and they made a lot of good points. So anybody, I'm not sure if I think it's like be season 1 or season 2 or season 3 where you need to watch that, and that's what I mean by they address good points about what I want to say to people is don't become the villain. Don't become the villain of the thing you're fighting against. Yeah. Because it's very easy for us to fight for equality and then be the next racist.
Which we're seeing right now. Which we're kind of seeing right now because
you could be that. Like, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who fought their blood, sweat, and tears in the LGBTQ community. Honestly, I apologize to anybody out there. I'm not naming the other letters because I don't know, but I'm going to name it to where I know it, the LGBTQ community.
Plus.
We'll say plus. Yeah. Who went out there and fought hard for the equality they have. Mm-hmm. They don't want to become the villains. Yeah. They don't want to become the ones that are
the new racists.
The new racists, basically that
the new bigots.
And not only that, it's the way. And this is another problem I have, which I'm going to go with my rant, is that one thing I cannot take or tolerate, and it's getting so annoying, is how and it's not just the LGBTQ, not just Latinos, not just blacks and everything. We get painted as such fragile fragile people. Like all these girls are so fragile that we can't handle opinions, that we get easily riled up if we're not included. And that is, and this is where the real controversy comes into, folks. And it's not us. We're not the ones really shouting this out. You have a few
who spaz out.
We had not even just all right. You know what? Fuck. I'm just gonna say we have a few progressive ass, far out there white people who want to be the voice for us, who have this this white savior God complex where they just feel like, oh, let me use my privilege. It's up to us to be the voices for you. We have our own voices. Yeah. First of all, we have our own voices. We can talk and we can fight our own battles. Not saying you can't help.
I would put that. I was like, support me.
Yeah.
Don't
not speak for me and say I'm offended by something when I'm not offended by something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is exactly what we're seeing. That's why you're seeing so much people get canceled on Twitter. Like we talked about Surrey. They turned on Surrey. I forgot what she said. Oh no, she posted something. I guess it was something anti-vaccine or something like that. She had her own perspective. And I guess the video had something that was, I guess, offensive to the trans community. So they blasted her.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, they blasted her or something like that. So they wanted her canceled from being the next Black Panther. So they support you and then they turn on you the dime in the hat.
I wish you'd have said that before Sean and I got in that whole big thing.
I was saving it for
No, but I mean, but the big thing was just like our thing was just as far as like would it, things that works together.
Yeah.
Like her as, like I said, her as an actress, phenomenal. Yeah. Her as a person, probably a great person you'd love to get to know. I was just, our argument was as far as franchise is concerned. What I have a problem with is that people, and I hate to say this, cancel culture was there to root out the people who really needed to be canceled.
Yeah, the Weinsteins.
People who were going above and beyond to be just disgusting. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like cancel culture is there for if you make a mistake. Nobody's perfect. Like people did things in the past. I'm pretty sure.
You bring up anything I did.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing. People bringing up the past. I get so pissed. I was like, things were very different in the 90s.
Yeah,
if you bring up my previous podcast.
Yeah, what I say is that when ONG and all of us blow up and get big, somebody's going to find something that we said back in the days that probably wasn't appropriate. Like, and I'm going to say this, like, as a human being, I went from a child to a teenager to a man to an adult. And when I say man, you learn how to, when you become an adult, you learn that you became a man to do man things. And then you become an adult to know how to, to balance that all out. And there are probably things I've said as a teenager that would, like as a teenager, you probably wouldn't get the opinions I have on the gay community that I would have probably had that I have as an adult.
Bro, we were labeled misogynists before because of Cosplay Girl of the Week, the pictures or the cosplayers that we chose. They thought like, oh, all you do, I kid you not, we got feedback all the time. All you do is pick the girls with the big titties, or all you do is pick pretty looking girls. And little did they know that we had a disabled cosplayer who submitted. She was like, I think was Katana. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, we got labeled misogyny.
I'd be like, first of all, what if all the 10 people who applied were big titty girls?
Yeah, and I apologize.
Like people don't know what goes on behind the scenes either.
I apologize to the community. I'm just a man that likes big breasts. I apologize. I have nothing. Let me rephrase that. I'm just a man that likes that. Period. I brought that, likes women. Period.
I brought that up because to piggyback off what he was saying is because, like, even when ONG first started, like when we were doing Cosplay Girl of the Week, but people were just like, oh, you're only featuring girls. So we're like, yeah, but if you check the post right after, we also had Cosplay Boy of the Week as well.
And disclaimer to everybody else, I didn't pick any of this. I had no say in that. That was not my department.
And it's not like, number one, we took those damn pictures. Yeah. Number two.
That too.
And that's the thing.
It's almost like they're mad at you because they feel like you made them do the cosplay.
The thing was, it's just like, oh, you need to feature more bigger women and things like I have been like for 10 years doing ONG. Sean don't know. Sean, there's a lot of things about, and this is why another reason why I said I need to finally get a lot of this stuff out. I on YouTube, like, and this is why I get testy when people who get so easily offended. You know, back in the days before we first started, I did a review before. I got death threats before. I remember me and Keenan did a podcast before. We got death threats literally, and Keenan's crazy ass literally gave the address like, "Yo, come meet us here," because the person lived in New York. He's like, "Nah, man, I'm just joking." Like, I have been told,
I'm not joking. Come get these hands.
No, the guy was like, he's just joking. No, me and Kim's like, no, come get these hands. Like Sean said, dude, I've been told my reviews suck. I don't get easily triggered by these things. I have gotten emails from time to time, and this is the point I'm saying. We cannot get to a point in 2021 where we do not have a thick skin. Like, we cannot take any form of criticism, because this is exactly where we're heading, especially in the comic and gaming industry. Just to talk on the gaming real quick, we are seeing censorship of gaming, because I don't want to let this thing go too more longer. We are seeing censorship in gaming, and to the point where now if a character has big boobs, I'm going to use an example right now that I found on Twitter. This game called A Cyberpunk Ghost Story. One of the key arts is from a Japanese developer. And, you know, anime girls, if you know, it's Otakus Geeks, so y'all all know what anime girls look like. Sometimes they have big breasts and everything else. So
Sometimes they all the time.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Yeah,
More than 90%.
So this person saw the picture and, quote, and Nadia, as a woman, you can tell me what you think of this. "What misogynist hell is this? These hyper-sexualized images are not appropriate and can lead to different forms of sexual violence. Please sort this out. An image of big titty women can lead to sexual violence."
I'm gonna need you to stop using your Karen voice, like when you do that.
Because this is how how
that's who's complaining.
These are the people that, and they, for some reason, I don't know why corporations are listening to this small group of people and going, "Oh my God, we have to censor this because this person here has made so much noise." And here's the problem that I have with these things. These people never buy your product in the first place.
So you're making even gamers complaining.
Yeah, you're not even. Yeah, oh yeah. There's gamers when you go to the female gamer part, where they think that, oh my God, like there's a couple of female gamers who feel harassed on playing Call of Duty online. They get insulted because guys curse at them. Sweetie, this is the nature of online gaming, period.
Yeah. Yo, I spaz on 9-year-olds. Like, I don't want anybody to ever think like
kids talk the most shit.
Exactly. I don't want any
the mouse on those kids.
Yes, I don't want any woman to ever think if you hear me spazzing on a Call of Duty game, that is just you. I go off on 9-year-olds.
But first of all, there's a mute button anyway on these chats, so you can protect your fragile self from hearing these type of things.
Well, I want to say this, Nadia, because I know you're a cosplayer. You do a very good job with your cosplays. I've seen your friends out there. You have a very diverse group of women that you cosplay with. You're a gamer. You read comic books. You do a lot in the community that you built for yourself. When you hear things like this, and I'm not just saying it because I can only from a woman's opinion, and I would love if this was a live show to hear women come in and give their opinion. But as a woman, you are very diverse in everything you do when it comes to the geek community. When you see stuff like this, what do you think about it? Like when you come in?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of something that's always been there. Like, I'm not going to lie, like a lot of times it is very provocative. Sometimes it makes no sense. But also, like, when I draw my girls, I like to draw, I'm going to be blunt, but big tits. Like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like that's like comic art. I mean,
well, they've always said that in comic book art, you always draw your heroes more exaggerated than the average person.
That's the whole point.
I feel like that's like fun. Like, say, like, just like fashion, it was like exaggerated drawing. So like that's kind of my art style. It's like not like to the sense where, what was the joke? Was it Power Girl? There was like an ongoing joke where like the artist drew like her tits bigger just to like see if anyone would notice.
Yeah.
Until they got like so ridiculous.
Yeah, that people are like, hey, wait, are they growing every episode?
Yeah. And then, what was that video game? Was it Dead or Alive, where you could like bounce the tips?
Yeah, Dead or
Yeah,
Alive, when they had the boost figures.
Yeah.
And people went ape shit
That's
about
really
that.
mad funny.
Talking about, oh, it's not realistic. And it's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm sorry.
You know what also
I
is not?
feel like as long as it's like not disrespectful, like and distasteful, but like it's something that exists. Like women have tits. Like
Yeah.
Like, this is the, like, I mean, is at this point now where, I mean, yes, does representation matter? Yes, it does. I mean, for me personally, when I'm writing something, I'm not thinking to myself, because I literally had to answer this question the other day, because it was just like, oh, why did you make your guy black? It's because you're black. And I'm just like, no, I just chose it because I just felt like it. It's not like I'm not writing anything acknowledging anybody's race. And I'm not writing anything religion because I'm making a true fictional story. That there's nothing reflective of this world in my worlds. That's just used my power of imagination. But it's just like,
I laugh because I feel like people say that to Call of Duty players. Like when you pick your character, because you know Call of Duty you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, do you pick the black character? No, I pick whatever character I like. When I make my characters, I don't always. Whatever I picked a lot of female characters on there, but you don't have to. You just pick whatever you like. It has nothing to do with race or whatever. Like one of the things I hate the people do, and in the cosplay community, is I see a lot of women that will complain about, well, all the photographers do is take pictures of the girls who are skinny with big breasts, so they've been augmented. And there are a lot of women in the cosplay community who have done that. But I'm like, but there are also a lot of women who are beautiful, who are big, who are skinny, who are short, who are tall, who don't necessarily fit the look of that character. But they do such a great job with their cosplay. It looks good. It's whatever you want. But you also got to remember, like, photographers go for whatever people are going to click on. And what do you think most of the more perverted dudes always scream about when they're watching cosplay?
They're the ones that buy the comic.
Yeah, no, they're the ones that sit down with but if you ever look and you see, like, when guys are always trying to take pictures of the cosplayers, they're running to the cosplayers with the outfits where it reveals more. Doesn't matter if your boobs are big, doesn't matter if your butt, if it's revealing,
they're coming to you.
They're coming to you and doing whatever. I've actually, as ONG, went to a cosplayer who had like a great outfit on. It wasn't revealing. It was just like, damn. There was a girl who did a Riri costume where she had just the Iron Man t-shirt on. She wasn't overly exaggerated chest-wise. She had the actual light shirt, like the actual lightness sewed into the shirt. She had half the glove on. She had the puffy curls, freckles, great makeup done, and a pair of jeans on, and she looked like one of the comic book covers. And I asked her, I said, hey, can you stand in the position of this comic and take a picture? Because I want to do something with the picture. And I said, you look great. And she was like, you know what? She said, very few people have walked up to me and told me what my costume looks like. And I said, that's because, they're looking at you to either be over exaggerated or like hyper sexy or whatever. I like to see the comic book for what it is. So I took a picture of it, and I actually just built out a picture of the actual comic book cover and just put her picture in it. And I mean, I think that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I care.
Yeah, I was gonna say cosplay could be a whole nother topic because I have mine.
That's another episode.
That's another episode because I have complaints about that.
I didn't go through like a negative situation, but when I was auditioning for my film, the original concept for my film was, it was a group of people who were trying to take down an evil criminal organization, and we tried to do auditions for both men and women. And when we brought the actors in to do the auditions, let's say like we invited like 30 men and like 30 women for the auditions.
Yeah,
only 2 guys showed up. All 30 of the women showed up. So then after a while, I was just like, you know what? I changed the script to where it was now a criminal organization of women.
Yeah.
It was an all-female criminal organization. And during the audition process, we weren't Just like, all right, since it's an all evil female criminal organization, let's find like the hottest chicks of all time. Yeah. We picked the best actors, and these are girls.
That's how it's supposed to be.
We picked
how it should be.
Yeah, we picked black girls, we picked dark skinned black girls, light skinned black. We had Spanish girls, we had white girls, we had Asian girls. They weren't all the same size. Some girls were 5 feet tall with short hair. Some people were black Hispanic. Some people had more hips than others. And when we chose like the final group of girls to actually be a part of the film, one girl, she came up to me and she said that she was surprised that we chose her because she was like, I'm tall, I'm dark skinned, and I have an accent. And I told her, I said, well, your accent was one of the best reasons why we picked you. One girl, she was just like, I didn't think you picked me because I'm bigger than the other girls. But I'm just like, but it's a criminal organization of women. You're all not going to look the same. Like it got to a point where like during the rehearsals, I had to convince them their differences is why you're here. Because they were all trying to fit into a specific type. And I had to talk them into embrace. I was like, the things that you don't like about yourself, that's why we picked you.
You have to embrace it.
Yeah, like that's exactly why we picked you.
And that is, because I don't want this going on too longer. Yeah, damn well. So I'm gonna say my final thoughts on this rant.
Oh, and before you say that, I just want to say one thing. I will say this. A lot of women out there, if you're a woman of a larger size, have more confidence. Stop letting the community or people out there tell you that you're not beautiful, that you can't be this cosplay, you can't be that cosplay. And don't do this, because I think a lot of people sit down and they claim body positive when you're just being a thought.
Yes.
And I think if you're a big girl and you dress the part and you look good, hey, do your thing. But, don't try, listen, I will say this, I'm a big dude. I'm not looking good with one of them G-Unit wife beaters that they had. That wife beater is made for a muscular dude, a dude who's in, phenomenal shape for that.
Yeah.
And no one ever complains about that with men in comics. You talk about, not realistic bodies. No one's that ripped.
Yeah, true.
Without enhanced steroids.
Without enhancement. It's like
or have been working out since they were 3.
Yeah.
But it's just for me to end this. I want to see, and the reason why I wanted to do this episode too, because I just want to get this off my chest too. We have to get back. I'm not saying we have to get back to the 90s. I know some of y'all are like, man, you're so into the old 90s and 2000s, because this is when art was really wild west, and you can really have this creative expression, creative freedom. Look at the shit they put in cartoons back in the days. You want to get away with that now because there's a group of people, and it's just like, at the same time, it just seems like these people want to, the small vocal minority, the loudest vocal minority is just trying. I don't know what their power play is with this. Yeah. And no, folks, I'm not saying it's just white people. It's everybody that's in part. It's they include every form of walk of life that's in part of this easily offended crowd. Yeah. And I don't know when exactly it started or how we got to this point where you can't say an opinion about something without someone trying to cancel you. You can't make mistakes no more without trying to cancel you. And then you got people who are claiming to be male feminists when they're really the biggest predators, because that clearly is usually the case. Ladies, so I'm just not saying don't trust male feminists, but always be kind of wary with a dude who's gonna.
You can tell when it's natural.
You can tell when it's natural when a guy really is out there trying to fight for a cause for women, and a guy who's just trying to get in your pants and just say, "Oh yeah, guys are this, and guys are that." I mean, you use your woman intuition. I mean,
or the ones attacking you.
Or the ones attacking you, that too.
Because when I said Robert Pattinson had to man up, I was called anti-feminine. I forgot what types of shit they call me, but he wants to play Batman. He needs to man up.
Yeah,
and that's just being realistic. You can't run around a city, beating up people and fighting crime, and don't look like a person who can actually. You have to make me believe when I look at you, I'm like, yes, I can actually see you doing that.
Yeah, but what I said was wrong and anti-whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too.
What you said was realistic.
We have to stop this anti-this. If you don't agree with something, you're anti-this. Oh, I don't agree with... I'm not saying... I don't agree, me personally, I don't agree that we should race swamp, sexuality swamp, every character just to appease a certain group, just to say, hey, you're included. That's lazy.
Yeah.
I hate that.
You want to give people a voice. You want to give people a diverse. You want to be really, truly diverse, inclusive. You give them the funding. You give them the platform, you let them create their own original shit, and you promote it the same way you would do the same like someone if they was white. That's what you would do.
That's what I wanted to point out. Reboots and remakes.
Yes.
I don't want to see a female Die Hard or female Bond. Come on.
I don't want to see any of that. You want to do something, give them the money, give them the platform.
I mean, if you want to do a movie about a female British espionage agent,
It doesn't have to be Bond.
yeah, you don't have to call it Bond.
Exactly.
just make a movie about a female agent.
But I will say,
And there are plenty of badass females out there.
but I will say this, right? Although you're right about that, we can have this in another podcast. Who would be a gritty female to play another John McClane? Like and I want y'all to think about this in time. Like, even though I don't want to see a female, not that I don't want to see a female Die Hard, but convince me of a gritty John McClane, because you could actually come up with somebody where I'd be like, yo, damn, like, yeah, she would be that wild, and or that like battle tested, because there are a lot of women out there who play roles as like a badass like assassin and doing whatever. But there's a difference between playing a badass assassin and playing who John McClane is.
Yeah, and trying to be John McClane.
Yeah, and because John McClane is just a rough, rugged cop. You got to find me somebody like that.
I agree. And on my last point here is, when you do these things, for the sake of diversity, inclusion, representation, one, don't do it in a stereotypal form, such as this Green Lantern book, as I feel is kind of stereotype, because why does the Latino have to deal with immigration? Yeah. Like,
well, let me ask you and Nadia a question. Mm-hmm. Would your opinion on this Green Lantern novel, would that slightly change a little bit
if they were white?
No. If you found out that the Latina woman who wrote it, went through those types of ISIS situations?
No, because what's it doing with a Green Lantern?
No, make that like a regular
what is
book.
If that's the case, then make it a memoir. Like, this is the problem. Yeah. Also, just to answer your question, stop putting. You're an author. You're creating fictional characters. I'm not saying you can't put bits and pieces of your life, because we all do it in our art, but don't make it like, because that's when you enter fan fiction realm. Yeah. And you don't enter. Exactly. You're not. And first of all, this is an established character. Yeah. With its own backstory. Yes, it's a reimagining.
It's an established.
Yes, it's an established character with its own backstory. But now you're just twisting it around. So people are already coming in with a concept of who Jessica Cruz is, and this is why I have a problem. This is when you make a new Green Lantern with this backstory.
Yeah. So
that's stop thinking of pre-existing characters.
Yeah. If you do that, I can agree with. If she used something similar to her own name and made that character, because the story is not bad. No, there's because if you imagine that I think there's a comic book out there, Nadia, you can correct me, I don't know, it was made by, there was a story called Black, where it was of only black people had superpowers. Yeah. And if
Colts is the name, something like that.
Yeah. If you made a comic book where that was where they're new characters, and it was a new series. It was a new realm where it shows that, because if you just imagine black people at this, and especially at the time we were just going through, can you imagine what would happen, the backlash and everything that's going on, if you just had black people in general with powers? Because remember, we just went through the whole joking thing of December 21st, like the moon and everything aligns, and anybody who has any melanin in this.
This is why people got to read more indie comics.
Yeah, that's
a lot of indie comics get it right.
There's plenty of representation out there. You're looking for representation in mainstream, and that's the problem. Yeah, you're looking for corporations who already have their mold. Yeah. And you have to do the work. You have to Google.
What you described sounds like Lovecraft Country.
No, but Lovecraft Country was way different. And second is different from the book, because I think Lenny would be good to tell you this. My man was real racist and a lot of stuff. But I'm talking about, like, if you had something like that, well, you could sit down and see, those make great stories, because the dynamic of what the world would look like. Because I mean, you would say, well, people already fear black people as as a thing now. Now you're going to add on top of that superpowers?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be, like, the stories that can come out of that are good. But don't try to establish that story with characters that are already established.
Yeah.
And that's
Do that for yourself, and let's move on. But
and
we might want to wrap this up.
yeah, we're going to wrap it up. And
Okay.
as far as anime goes, folks, I am going to do something next month, which is going to be called Women of Anime, because I need to prove a point to you feminists out there, you extreme feminists out there, who think that anime and the Japanese are a bunch of in Japanese culture when it comes to anime and video games is just this big titty misogynist type of thing. I need you to
Stop watching hentai.
stop watching hentai and stop looking at
Why everybody look at me though?
no, not looking at you. And stop looking at a particular genre where it's catered to that.
Yeah.
And
It's called fan service.
And in the first, I'm just gonna name 3 characters because I can name anime women off the top of my head of women that's empowered, women that are in power, women that are in control. Masato Kasaragi, Neon Genesis Evangelion. She's in charge of Nerve, and she is a very flawed character. Look her up. You have Sarah from Now and Then Here and There, which deals with sexual abuse, and I'm not going to get too deep into that, but look her up. And let me just throw a curveball out there just for fun. You have Lucy from Elfen Lied as well. So there's more, and there's tons of them. You have the women of Robotech. They're all in charge in Robotech. Lisa Hayes, Min May, Claudia Grant. But I'm going to get into that next month. And that's it. Stop being so soft. Stop being so offended by everything. Not everything's sexist. Not everything's racist.
Not everything's an attack against you.
Not everything's an attack. People have different opinions. That is the beauty of life. That's what's called being an individual.
Yeah. And if your opinion is different than someone else, instead of getting mad, ask them why.
Yes, and life is
and
not
have a conversation about why your opinion is different from theirs.
And life is not an echo chamber. We don't live in an echo chamber. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Get a backbone. Toughen up, cupcakes.
Stop being soft.
Stop being soft. And live life. Thank you.
Speaking of that, can I just say one
Go
thing?
ahead.
For the very first time last weekend, I watched something that everybody seemed to like, and I gave it a chance.
Guardians 2?
No, hell no, hell no. I saw Guardians 2 for free, and I want my money back. But for the first time last week, I watched The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
That show is very boring.
What?
Jarrell,
It's the end of the show. And it's time for you to get out.
out of here.
Close out.
Bye.
It's time for you to
All
get
right.
out. Like,
All right, you gotta
like,
go.
like this just tells me you will.
I didn't say it was bad.
You just didn't like it.
I didn't say
but
I didn't
I'm
say I
gonna
didn't
practice what I just preached.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
I'm just gonna
I'm
practice.
just saying it was very boring.
I'm gonna practice what I preached.
I ain't practicing
I
shit.
respect.
You gotta go.
I respect your opinion.
Smoking. No.
Exactly. I ain't practicing shit. You gotta go.
I respect your opinion.
I mean, I can back that opinion up, but I mean,
We don't have that much time anymore.
The ending, the season 2 finale was really cool.
Yes, it was. It's epic.
But it was. But then I sat there and I was just like, as cool as this was, did I have to sit here through these 15 episodes to get to this 16?
There was only 8. Let's not exaggerate.
I'm talking about both seasons. I watched season 1 and 2. Did I have to? I sat there and watched 16 episodes, and I was just like, was it worth
Well, it was
sitting?
good enough for you to sit through it like that.
No, it did. I mean, I wanted to watch the whole. I didn't want to just be like, all right, this is boring. I give up. I wanted to watch it so I can give because maybe it gets better.
Dude, I just inspired mad people.
No, but
you
I
just
know.
gonna
Damn
turn.
it, we gotta cut this part.
but it was like the ending. The ending was good. The show was good, but if I'm being 100% honest, They did not need 16 episodes to get there.
Okay. You just had to DC this shit, bro. We
ended
this shit with hope and like people waking up, and then this man's just gonna turn everybody like, this motherfucker hates the Mandalorian.
I didn't say it. I didn't say
I'm gonna have to say this. Like,
I didn't say I hate.
No, I'm just saying this is what people are
It
gonna
was one
say.
of the best shows of 2020.
Yeah, like I think the comment section is going to be lit up with why do you have Jarrell on this show? Like, why do you have Jarrell on this
He
show?
hates,
Dude.
He's gonna be the new I hate everything YouTube channel.
Dude, episodes 1, 2, and 3 could have been condensed into one episode.
Of the first season?
Yes, of the first season.
I do agree with that.
I don't understand. If you only have 8 episodes a season, why is there so much
filler?
filler?
Why
is there so much filler?
There is pacing issues with The Mandalorian.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is pacing issues. I will agree with that.
But that was the problem I had. It wasn't the story. It wasn't the storyline. It wasn't the characters.
Folks, he had problems with the pacing. It wasn't the show.
He still got to get out.
My problem was, why did it take us 6 episodes to get here when y'all could have did it in 2? There was a moment.
They had fantastic character development, though.
Yes.
I hope the writers of The Mandalorian reach out to you.
Like
that one episode of Bill Burr was better than some shows in general.
True.
Yes.
Everybody hates Bill Burr for some reason.
Well, Luke Skywalker. Oh, I have to end this with more hope. So we're gonna end this, folks. Yes, folks. Yes, Jarrell wasn't a huge fan. He didn't say he hated it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it.
Put down the Star Wars fans.
I didn't
put
hate
down
it.
the pitchforks. Put
He said
down
the
the
pitchfork.
put down the lightsabers, the blasters.
I just thought it was
do not turn to the dark side. We gotta go because we're about to hit 3 fucking hours of this shit. But this is the longest show ever. We're gonna have to put this into. I don't know. We're gonna put this shit in parts, bro.
I mean, we can continue my
Wonder Woman could be its own episode.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Thank you, Sean, for giving us the cue to get the fuck out of here. We gotta go. Yeah, bye. We'll do.
See you guys next week or 2 weeks from now. Thanks for joining us.
GothamGeekGirl.com, Red Eyes Entertainment, ImaginativeVisions.com, Cry Hill 2, February 14th.
Chronicles on IG.
Yes, so,
right.
Yeah, bye. Pre-order my shit.
Damn, yo, we went for 3